Hello everyone, welcome to the Game Junk podcast for October 2013. This is episode number 17, and my name is Sean.
My name is Frank.
My name is Andrew.
Coming up on this month's episode, we're going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 5, some Splinter Cell Blacklist, just some general discussion, no main reviews. But we're also going to get into some news regarding Steam making a big play for challenging the console market, as well as the upcoming launches of the Xbox One and PS4, and, you know, junk mail and other stuff like that. So thanks for joining us and, you know, not
sticking around through the hiatus.
Yeah, not minding the fact that we don't record very often. But how you guys doing?
Super.
Yeah?
Doing all right.
I don't know. Just before we started recording, there was some serious tensions flaring here. I felt like...
Fisticuffs.
I'm pretty fired up these days. I had some anger issues this afternoon.
Yeah?
I've been snapping all day. Tuesday's one of my favorite days of the week.
Always?
I'm not even talking releases.
Really?
Zares. $2 chicken tenders and wedges meal.
Zares is a grocery store for...
Go in there to get a couple of wedge and fang deals.
Yep.
Sold out.
I see this guy pull up beside me, and I think he's going to butt in front of me. And I'm just bracing for conflict. My nostrils are flaring. I'm picturing me snapping on... He's with these two grandkids, and I'm going to snap on this guy. I already know what's going to happen. And then I'm going to leave the store and not even get my chicken fingers. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And then the one lady who works there is just brutal. She sees me coming, so skimpy with the wedges. Just really gets on my nerves. So I avoid her, thankfully. The ordering works out that I get a different one. I'm excited. Potential for full wedge box.
Yep.
She gets in. She's hunting for the biggest fingers. I'm loving it. Gets those tongs on the big juicy breast fillet. Boom, two of them in there. Goes for the wedges. The latest trickling of wedges on top. I'm just, oh God, I should have got 4 boxes. So I'm snapping the whole way home. And then driving up here tonight, everyone is fucking me over on the road. Oh, yeah. Cutting in front of me, driving slow. As soon as I try to pass them, they speed up. I was snapping coming up here tonight.
Toronto traffic.
On a fucking Tuesday night at 7:30. So I'm fired up, and you can
quote me.
Believe it already. I'm ready to go.
All right, well, that's great news.
But I will say this. I got lunch for myself and my coworker, brought it back to my house. I said to him, I will take the fewer wedges when they are this level quality. They were perfect wedges. Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside, perfect temp. Not a lot that were really big or really small. You don't get the really big ones, and they're like almost you're biting into a raw potato.
Yeah. Just
a perfect sprinkling of wedges.
So there's a silver lining after all.
Yeah. But it's still got me fired up.
Well,
then he went and played some games, right?
I played a little GTA just to try and get to the 30-character game. Didn't make it, though. Had a nap instead.
It's probably a better choice. Okay, so before we get into news, a few things to mention up front. So, as always, I'll just mention the website, GameJunkPodcast.com, Facebook page, Facebook.com/GameJunk, which we post news and links and stuff there if you want to check it out. Or you can follow us on Twitter, Twitter.com/GameJunkPodcast. So check all those things out. So we got to mention a Kickstarter, another Kickstarter that's going on that happens to involve some good friends of ours. And it's a little project called Citizens of Earth, which I'm sure you've heard about on the site and heard about on the podcast a few times before. It's sort of a throwback to the, 16-bit RPGs, kind of paying tribute to Earthbound and things like that, set in contemporary times, which I actually... That's what's got me hooked on the game, to be honest with you, because I'm so sick of fantasy RPGs. But anyway, basically, head over to Kickstarter and check it out. And they're trying to basically get money to finish the art for the game, but it's completely indie, very small group of people working on this thing, a labor of love, if you will.
I know there's a demo, and I think there's 10 days remaining on the Kickstarter. So
there you go. Check it out. Citizens of Earth, a modern RPG. Just Google it. You'll find it. Let's jump into some news. I know the last few times we recorded, there was big stuff going on with E3 and announcements about new consoles, and not quite as big an episode, I would say, but definitely some interesting stuff. I think we should start with the Steam machines. There were rumors for quite a while now about a potential Steam box, which is what it was called originally. And then over the past month, Valve basically unveiled a three-pronged plan of attack moving forward, which they announced the Steam OS. They announced Steam machines, which are essentially the Steam box. Just high-end gaming PCs that are kind of prepackaged and sold. I think you can customize them too if you want, but and then a new controller, which is a pretty weird looking thing. Let's just start, I guess, with the Steam machine idea in general. The fact that Valve is entering the console battle, if you will. How do you guys feel about this? And do they have a shot, especially considering that we've got 2 new consoles coming out this year in November?
I'll let Huck City take off on this one.
As I point at you. I think that people will buy it. I don't know if I'll buy it. What I do like what they're doing is that they are not getting into the hardware business, which I think is huge. They're kind of saying to the hardware manufacturers, here's our OS. You guys build the hardware for it, put it on it, and we'll supply the games essentially. So they're not running into any of the R&D problems that Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo will run into. And they already have a really good established base of users. I think every time I sign into Steam, there's about 4.5 to 5.5 million people on there. So, I mean, if even a small amount of those people jump on this thing, I'm sure it'll be profitable for Valve and for whoever the hardware manufacturers are. I'm a little worried that it's going to be confusing to the consumer because they're kind of just throwing it out there to whoever wants to make it and whatever. So I don't know. I didn't read the specs on how they're going to control what hardware's in it, which could be problematic for developers. But at least if they have some controls, it'll be a little more manageable than the current Wild West of PC developing right now, where you can get tons of random little things being a problem.
Well, over the last 4 months, I'd say, I've been seriously debating, well, I've pretty much committed to it, building a new gaming rig.
Yeah.
PC. Top of the line, or close to it. And I'm watching the most ludicrous PC gaming build videos on YouTube and glamour that end with these glamour shots of your PC, and just trying to make sense of this landscape and put together something that represents me in a PC. Now, I'm struggling to even. It's so hard to wrap yourself around it and get to a point where you're like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm buying. It almost feels that at some point I'm just going to have to settle. In fact, I had a nightmare recently.
That you had to settle?
No, I went into it. It was before I went to see a movie, and I just saw a computer store, and I went in and asked for the first thing I saw, took the huge computer back in line with me to the movies, and thought about what I'd done, realized I couldn't return it, and I woke up in a sweat. Just like, oh my God, thank God that didn't happen. I didn't buy that. It was the worst. What was I thinking?
I appreciate your pain though, because I didn't build like a gaming rig with all the top line stuff, but I built my own computer. And you're right, it is stressful because I went through the case where, first of all, you got to pick the motherboard. which is like 1,000 of them. And you got to make sure it's got everything you need. Going to be extendable out to like have enough memory for later and all that stuff. And then I found out the hard way that you want to just buy like the biggest power supply you can, because once you start hooking up all your shit, you're not going to have enough power. So there's like all these little things, and making sure you have enough connections on the board and the right connections on the board and the right RAM slots and all that stuff. It just gets...
And it's
daunting.
All top of the range stuff. So I'm not as concerned about that. I'm more concerned, how is the whole package going to look together? I'm thinking
outside.
I'm thinking LED lights, fan lights. I want a fucking pimped out PC. You know what I'm talking?
Water cooled.
If you're gonna build a gaming PC, you do it like a man. To quote
you going all solid? You going all solid state drive?
See, I want all the LEDs matching. I want like a fucking tits out PC. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't make it happen. So
why don't you just buy an Alienware? PC
I don't like them. That's lame. That's the other thing with PC. PC cases are so lame.
You gotta do custom, man. You gotta.
Oh, and I don't want to spend that much money. It's just, I don't know. My head's about to explode. As you can tell, around this time, I see a countdown on Steam. Oh, Steambox is coming. It's my solution. It's my salvation. They're gonna tell me what I need. And then this is just, there'll be a million different ones. It's like a new PC market of different things.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, well, I'll just stick to building a big PC that is going to have HDMI out, and then I'll still probably buy a Steambox on top. when I really break it down.
So let me ask you, since you were thinking about doing this new PC rig, and let's put that on par with the new Steambox kind of thing.
Also, I'll add one other thing. I think the reason that I've been so into getting a new PC is I'm starving for new consoles and something new. And the PC landscape is kind of a new area that is clearly already more advanced than new consoles are going to be, and it has my attention.
So on that, with the new consoles, you're obviously going to buy the new consoles for the exclusives. Sure. But when the PC version and the new console versions come out for the multi-platform ones, what are you going to pick? What are you going to go with?
I've already picked them.
You going PC all the way?
No, not even close. You buy the console version and then wait for a Steam sale and buy everything else for $10 on PC.
So you're going to have multiple copies of everything?
Course. That's the main reason I want a new PC, to replay Tomb Raider on PC and get Steam achievements.
So now you're talking my language, because we've talked about PC gaming, and I know there's lots of PC gamers out there who have been angry at us for not being more excited about PC gaming, not being more into PC gaming. And I just, you know what, I'll play at work, at lunch, a few games here and there, but I'm not going to come home and sit at a desk and play games. That's just not, I want to relax on the couch in front of a TV. We've talked about this. But the Steam machines kind of are fixing that problem to a degree, because, obviously they're meant to be played on a big TV if you want, and the controller, which they're trying to sort of find this way to bring the precision of a mouse and keyboard to a controller. I don't know. I've read some things, and people say it actually is way more accurate than analog sticks for like a first-person shooter or something. So that's intriguing. So all this stuff, I kind of could see myself getting into it. But like the main draw for me is just Steam, because I have a shit ton of games on there that I never play, and there's always sales. So I love Steam, and I think Steam's great. So if this is a way to make it more accessible to me, then I'm all for it. So why don't you just buy a video card with some sort of HD out, and then use Steam big picture mode? Yeah, you can already do that. And I mean, I probably could even do it with the laptop I have now for a lot of the games that I would play. Now, to the advantage of that to me, and why I'm leaning to that over Steambox, is there may be solutions for this already, so don't chastise me if I've got it wrong. But it's built on Linux, right? And I don't know if other gaming platforms are going to be able to run on top of it, or how full the support is going to be for Origin and other games. On a Steambox? Yeah. 0, I bet. That's what I'm guessing, right? It's going to be like a closed platform, exactly. I think. So in my opinion, that's why I would almost lean towards a PC anyway, because it's going to support all those other games. Yeah. So when GOG has a sale, you're not limited. Yeah, and that is a concern, I would say.
And I can still crush porn big screen on my TV.
Well, I mean, if
That's
you're going to
true.
spend the money you're going to spend on a PC, do you really want to close off, the options of what you can do with it? So it's just gaming. Like, I don't know. That's potentially a problem.
The other thing too is that it, as far as I know, it is Linux based, and right now I think 10%, of Steam games support Linux. So you're not even getting the full Steam library.
That's true. Sorry, that's the thing I was talking about with the compatibility, because they say there are potential solutions down the road for that.
Right.
I can't remember what it is, but I did read something about that.
Probably porting those games to Linux.
No, I think there was something else.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe they have some sort of
So emulation
layer,
yeah.
which will slow things down and piss developers off. But yeah, it could happen. I don't know. We had a question on the Facebook about, do we think it's going to take like 10% of the market share away from Xbox or PlayStation, is like the console market? I don't think so. I think if anything, this will maybe cut out a slightly bigger section of the PC market, just take from the PC market. I can't see it taking, especially not 10%.
Well, as far as I see it, it is the
maybe-
PC market just expanded.
Yeah, maybe people that get caught up in the hype, like buying kind of like iPhones, right? Oh, I need the new iPhone 5C and 5S and all of them, right? It's the same thing with the slight upgrade. You can probably wait a year or two before you get a new one.
I already have my model for buying Steam games. I wait till they're at the Steam sale.
Yeah, that's right.
And I never play them. I literally bought 20 to 30 games over the Steam sale this summer, spent hundreds of dollars. I've yet to touch them at all.
Yeah.
But I did buy them under the presumption that I will be building a gaming PC.
And then never
Right.
play them on that.
I'll play them probably 20 minutes each, Andrew.
Well, that's a good portion of time then.
But I kind of agree with what your other point was, that like I'm a little confused. Like I was hoping that the Steam box thing would also be just these prepackaged things. I could just go into Best Buy, pick one up,
Maybe 5 levels.
Yeah.
Right?
and you're done. But, obviously they know that their main target market is the hardcore PC gamers, at least to start with. They want to go beyond that, but they don't want to alienate those people. So they have to have customization and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as you start introducing that, well, then you alienate all the more casual people. So it's just kind of this weird in between that I'm not quite sure they're going to accomplish anything with it.
I don't know. Did they say they're going to allow customization?
There's definitely options. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Am I
But I
getting
don't
LED
think you can-
lights on it?
But I don't think
change colors?
I don't think once you buy it, I don't think you can swap parts in and out.
Yeah, maybe
I
not.
guess you
I
could.
think it's more like if you're going to order one
Yeah.
online or something, you can
Yeah.
say, I want this video card and this and this and this in it. So you can customize that to an extent, but maybe not once you own it. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, because I doubt they're going to support, plug and play devices like Windows handles.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not going to be able to just grab any random video card. It'll kind of be like Apple, right? They have a lot less. I think you can only buy Apple products to put in there or whatever. I don't know, whatever Apple specific stuff, but you can't even really swap out with Apple products. But
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that, but that would also be frustrating. And then, I guess just what you were saying as well, Andrew, that for developers, I mean, the good thing about consoles is you're developing, for the most part, you have, a set specs that you're working with, and that, and you can build your game around that. But as soon as you have all these different possible, specs for the target machines that you're aiming for, it makes it so much more complicated.
Well, I would say a lot of development is shifting towards developing a high-end PC version and porting it down and across platforms.
Right.
So I don't know I think that problem is becoming smaller and smaller.
yeah, I think it's more if you plan to port to Linux or not.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Putting the time and investment into learning Linux or paying someone to port your code to Linux.
That's very true.
Which is because really I'm sure that this is just going to be a subset of whatever Linux can support. So if you port to Linux, it'll support the Steam box. But
right. Well, the other thing I'm thinking, though, is in terms of indie developers. I mean, just being able to sort of test for all those different platforms that are out there and all that stuff, that's like logistically, that's complicated. So
well, they do it now for Steam. I don't think you actually... I don't think small guys test everything. It's impossible. Even big guys can't test everything.
Yeah.
So, I don't think that will be a big issue. I think either way, there are going to be constant bugs with random hardware.
Well, I
there.
think we're just getting used to every game that comes out has a billion problems, but we'll get to that in just a bit.
Foreshadowing.
Finally, controller talk.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm actually, like, I know a lot of people saw it and just immediately dismissed it, but I am very intrigued because, for one thing,
You just like a space age look.
I'm definitely a sucker for something that's new.
He also wants the touchpad.
But the idea that it has like haptic feedback so that you can kind
That's cool.
They had you
Feel-
haptic.
As soon as I heard the word haptic, I was there.
I believe
He
it.
wants to feel the vibrations.
I'm not lying. That's
The
how I
motion
feel.
in the ocean.
I think it looks intriguing as well. I'm curious to get one of those in my hands, spend some quality time, figure it out, push each other's buttons a little bit. I'm interested. It all depends on how it plays games.
I have two, I think, justified concerns with the controller. I do like the haptic feedback too. I think that's really cool. I think there'll be a lot of really cool things that come out of that developers play with, probably especially the indie guys that'll like mess around with, I don't know, simulating water through the touchpad and stuff like that. One is how they've split the main buttons, 2 to each side. So now 2 on your left hand, 2 on your right hand. I'm not sure how that will work. I mean, it'll work. You'll figure it out. But I think for me, what's nice about the current kind of controller layouts is you have sort of like all your action buttons on one hand and all your movement buttons on the other, with occasionally switching to control camera. And I like that. I don't know how... To me, I feel like if you're ever doing a game with motion, you're essentially cutting off those 2 buttons there. You'll never take your hand off the motion to hit a button.
Well, the way I picture it is if you're doing a first-person shooter and you're using the right side to aim, you probably want to be able to leave your thumb aiming. Aiming is more important than moving in those cases. So if you want to do an action, they might all be mirrored in some games, the buttons,
Maybe,
right?
sure.
So if you're aiming with the right stick, you may want to do other actions on those buttons and your left hand is free because at that point, aiming is more important than moving.
It's possible. My only concern with that is that then your control schemes gets pretty complicated. But I agree with that point. It could work. I'm a little hesitant. It's not like a deal breaker for me, but I'm a little hesitant to see if it'll actually work as well as people think it will.
I mean, I think it is aimed at FPS stuff first and foremost. I agree that it could be a little more awkward for like a platformer or something, but the FPS thing is definitely what they're going for. So
yeah. The other thing for me is those track pads, the haptic feedback pads. Now, the haptic parts I'm fine with, but for me, I know if I'm playing a game for a long time, even on like my iPhone, and I'm like rubbing my finger across the screen, my finger gets a little like friction burn almost feeling.
Interesting.
And with those things, right, like the nice thing about the stick is when you move your hand, there's actually no friction going on between your thumb and the control stick. So you can play those games till the cows come home. But with this now, you're actually like using friction to judge the motion. So I have a feeling if you're playing a game for a while, your finger will get sore from playing it.
Game controller lubricants. The future, Sean, to you.
could happen, Frank. I think it definitely could happen. But I see what you're saying. I feel like that would be the most obvious thing for them to not consider. Like it really depends what it's made out of and how it.
I totally agree that will have an effect, but like I saw they have those sort of like rings, which I think will help with the problem that the iPhone has where you have no like tactile feedback.
Right.
As far as like how far you're pressing. So I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think it's really just going to be about rubbing your finger on like some sort of like rubbery substance for a long period of time. It'll make your thumb raw, essentially.
I think petting simulators could be a big market here.
Maybe a new Viva Pinata.
Animal House. Ooh.
Connectimals, some version of that on PC. Virtual Zoo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Pep the aminals. I'm pretty intrigued. Bottom line, brass tacks, we got to get one of these fuckers in our hands. This is all speculation. This is trailer
If
trash.
anybody from Valve is listening to Game Junk,
Send us a controller.
let us know. Hook us up.
And a pet,
we'll
a
play
pet
it.
simulator demo.
We'll play it within the
Be
next
appreciated.
3 months.
Like just
3 or
you,
4 months.
you're petting you go to the stingray pond like they have at SeaWorld. You know, it changes like a nice smooth.
Dude, can you imagine combine that with the Oculus?
Oh,
Well, wasn't there
you
that...
wouldn't have to leave your house.
No, you would never leave.
Didn't
your
we
house.
have that other story like a few shows ago about the electricity feedback where they can like simulate the feel of grass with electrical inputs? Wasn't that like a few shows ago?
I don't remember
Combine
talking
that
about that,
also?
but that's
No? Oh, maybe
Could be good.
I'm out
Shaved versus unshaven. Future. The future.
You got to be
Frank's
thinking
never
about
leaving his house.
it. So, actually, one other side note to this whole thing was the rumors of Half-Life 3.
Well, I know someone was mentioning that as the countdown continued, the image in the middle of the sun was starting to make something. Did that ever become anything? I don't think so, right?
I don't think
As
so.
I tweeted it, to me it looked like it was becoming the Love Rock from Problem Child 2. It was becoming more to a heart shape
I saw
in the middle there.
I saw an image on Twitter. Some guy had taken the image and hue shifted it or something in Photoshop, and it revealed the Half-Life 3 logo.
lamp, yeah.
Now, did he just put it there? I don't know.
I don't know.
He
either.
probably did.
Well, the thing is, they also at some point over the last week there was a trademark filed for Half-Life 3 in some sort of
Australia, I think?
It was in somewhere in Europe, I think.
And weren't there like leaks of testing software that had Left 4 Dead 3?
Yeah,
and a
like
few
bug
other-
reporting stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, supposedly that the trademark thing disappeared right after everybody discovered it or something.
And it switched to Portal 3 or something? I think it switched to a different game.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, the thing is, I do not doubt for a second. I mean, obviously, it's in development at some stage. Half-Life 3 is. I mean, probably the other ones are too. But that is the perfect. Like, if they want to launch this thing, that's how you do it, right? I mean, you're going to put out Half-Life 3, and it's going to change the
They'll definitely
world.
need it. They'll definitely need it to drive sales, I think. I don't think they'll be able to drive sales just putting it out there.
What if certain Steam boxes you get Half-Life 3 for free?
Certain Steam boxes
like
or
a
all
lottery.
Steam boxes?
It's like a lottery?
Maybe whatever. Maybe Valve
No.
will have back certain
ones. It would be like game theory where you like randomly reward people. People will buy thousands of them to find a free copy.
It's like all their cards and stuff. It's all
Yeah,
that.
It's all game theory. Oh, they're doing that for sure.
I wouldn't go that far, but I do think that Half-Life 3 will probably...
One
part of
special Steam box has a magic code. You get to go to a brony convention with Gabe.
Great idea. Okay, so we got some Nintendo news.
My favorite company.
Some huge news from Nintendo. It's actually this weekend. They are releasing the 2DS. Which, I mean, come on, you gotta laugh when you hear that that's, a big announcement from Nintendo. They always release like 4 or 5 versions of a console, and but the idea that, the selling point of the 3DS was the 3D, and now they're selling it back to you without the 3D and saying, hey, this is even better now. Like,
Isn't a regular DS, couldn't that be called a 2DS? 2 dual screens?
it could.
Oh, wait, no. Shouldn't there be 4? 2 dual screens? There should be 4 screens on that bad boy. There's not.
We really should have waited a week so I could do a 2DS unboxing audio clip.
I agree.
You'll have to tape it.
I was going to buy this. The more I think about it, I probably won't.
Really?
And the reason is I can't even have both exist at the same time. I have to migrate one account to the other one. Like the way I did with my 3DS
Oh my
to the
God.
3DS XL. I had to take that account, transfer it to there, and now I don't have it on that other one. I can't have one account existing on 3 systems. This is the problem with Nintendo.
Nintendo is the worst.
I just want to have this one ID, be able to play my games on all those consoles. And this is the worst part. The saving of everything, essentially, for the game is on the cart.
Yeah.
Right? I should be able to have the same profile on all three and carry over my save progress, which is on the cart.
They're still doing cart writing?
Oh, maybe they don't anymore. They don't. I'm wrong. I'll edit that.
They must not.
I don't want to be wrong ever. No, they do save your game data locally. That's why fuck.
I don't know, man. There could I wouldn't put it past them. Let me just say that.
Me neither,
Just to back you up a little bit here, because honestly, like, it feels like Nintendo is so far behind the times.
Fuck. I feel like
but I mean, like,
idiot.
Everybody else is doing all this cloud stuff, and Nintendo is clearly not even, like, it's not even on their radar at this point.
Hey, they're moving backwards, all right? Pretty soon they'll come out with the regular Nintendo. They'll call it the 2 NES. And then they'll be right back where they started.
They're so dumb. Or maybe they're not dumb. At any point, we all know this. They could release a streaming Nintendo console that has access to the entire Nintendo library, and every person on Earth would
Please,
buy
they'll
it.
never do that.
Every person would buy it.
They want to nickel and dime you.
I
They
know.
want you to buy Super Metroid again.
And I do.
Some
If
other thing.
it was a
Wii U
subscription,
too.
though, like a Netflix
Yeah.
subscription service, that could be some big money for them.
Huge.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everyone would buy it.
It's a pretty big library.
We better cut that out. That's too good of an idea.
Oh, I'm sure I'm not the first person to have that idea.
But, okay, here's the question I have,
Not
though.
Sony with Gaikai or anything.
So, is the Wii U completely doomed at this point? Or could it still be saved? I mean, obviously the Zelda Wind Waker HD just came out. People seem pretty excited about that. There's Super Mario 3D World still coming out later this year. Is there a chance, or I don't know? Like,
I think Nintendo has just gone back to what they were, essentially the GameCube era. So I think they peaked a bit, or Super Nintendo was a high peak. Probably dipped a bit with Nintendo 64.
yeah.
Still, Nintendo fans love it. Tons of games they love and cherish from that system. I'm one of them. Come back with the GameCube. Probably dipped a bit with that. Still, I love it. One of my favorite systems ever. And then the Wii hit this mass appeal.
I would disagree that they changed their strategy with the Wii, though. I think they just...
No,
I think the mechanic just enticed people that had never played games before to buy it, which made it...
I agree. Sorry, did I say it was a strategy? I didn't...
No, you were just saying like the Wii peak. You were saying the Wii was going to peak up.
Well, the reason I'm saying
like
that is because it
old
just
Nintendo.
appealed to so many people. And that was kind of their strategy, to do casual gaming. And I think half of it is a lot of those casual gamers found they liked video games.
But how many casual games do they put out besides Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort?
Yeah, I think a lot of people bought Wii's,
Oh, I guess Wii Fit, but I mean, there's not many.
Bought Just Dance and lots of other shitty games for their kids, too.
Yeah, but they didn't put those out.
No,
Nintendo
I know.
didn't put those out.
I know. But like console sales and popularity, like
Sure.
it reached more people than just hardcore Nintendo fans. And I think with the Wii U, we're seeing people bought the Wii. It was a toy. I hate to say fad, but a bit of a fad. Still really only great games, mostly from Nintendo. And now you're seeing it just rein itself in. And I think it'll still be popular. Anyone who loves Nintendo at some point will get one. It just takes the right announcement, as we've said before with you. The right game will drive you to get one. And it just takes time.
Can you pull out sales of GameCube versus sales of Wii U? It'd be interesting to see if there's a big discrepancy, because I have a feeling that they'll be pretty similar, lifetime. Because I imagine the GameCube was mostly hardcore Nintendo fanboys that love...
When I bought the GameCube, I didn't even buy a game that day.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for Smash Brothers. I think I waited a month before I bought Luigi's Mansion. I just rented a couple things.
So, GameCube, this is according to Wikipedia. I don't know how up to date it is. GameCube, 21.74 million units sold.
It's a pretty big number.
And what did you want to compare it to? The Wii?
We need like trends. First month of... We're not going to find...
The Wii U.
The Wii U. Wii U, 3.6 million.
So, nowhere near, but...
In a year.
Yeah.
And I bet it... Look, first year GameCube sales. Sean. I bet it's less than that. I bet it's way... Obviously, it's a different time. Gaming wasn't as popular. I didn't know anyone with a GameCube but me.
I think I only knew one person with a GameCube, actually. And he was a hardcore Nintendo guy.
GameCube had... Oh, hang on. This is very specific information you're asking for.
I'm not doubting it.
I know on the...
That's why they call you Web.
It says the Wii U is currently tracking below GameCube. GameCube sold 21.7... After 6 months, GameCube was at 3.8 million. The Wii U is at 3.45 million after 7 months.
Pretty close.
Fairly close, yeah. I'd say it's close.
By that time, GameCube had Super Smash Brothers, which is a huge driver of sales.
What does the Wii U have right now?
No huge driver of sales, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's one coming.
But even when you can't even consider Wind Waker, although it seems to be driving some sales.
No, I wouldn't. I'd say maybe 3D World, Mario 3D World, and if they announce a new Zelda, I think you may see a difference.
There is.
And Super Smash Brothers for sure.
Yeah,
so.
I was just gonna say that's definitely a big
maybe
deal.
Maybe a Pokemon game or something.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like they've had a year now where they haven't had direct competition from new consoles, but now new consoles are coming out. That could be bad for them. I mean, I know people with the Wii, people were always saying that, it was the add-on console that if you already had one, well, it wasn't that expensive, you'd still buy it anyway. I don't think the Wii U is quite being viewed like that. I mean, they did have a price cut not that long ago, right?
Yeah, well, a brief one, and then...
But it's still like...
It's low, but now you get Wind Waker with it and stuff like that.
It's still like $300 though, right?
Yeah, but there was a time, a day, a week, when Wii U was $150 for the basic Wii U.
Right.
Wii U? No, Wii.
No, Wii U was $150 at Target in Canada.
What? That's low
for the white basic model. Both. I told Sean. I don't think I told you.
No, you didn't.
Because I couldn't. I was gonna buy a second Wii U. I couldn't find one. Dude, you must be just kicking yourself right now for not having that.
I'm not, surprisingly. I mean, I was definitely...
I love the look of shock on Ray's face.
I was tempted briefly, but then I just thought, what the hell am I going to play?
$150, it's fucking nothing.
What am I going to play? Nothing. There's nothing
I'll tell you what's amazing. Wind Waker HD, which we'll get to later.
I don't know. Not that interested in it. But, okay, well, let's get on to...
You know what game you would love, which we're going to talk about later, too? Wonderful 101.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested.
It's got haptic.
Okay, so let's talk about Xbox One and PS4, the launch, what we know. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure last time we talked, both the release dates were not announced, right?
I don't think so. I don't think we knew anything about when they were coming out.
So we now know November 15th, PS4, November 22nd, Xbox One.
Which is a huge mistake on Xbox's part, in my opinion.
Yeah?
Their one chance to gain
and they came out with that after PlayStation 4 announced.
Would have been to do anything to get a week ahead of PS3. Although, from what I've seen, I think there was a report on this recently, the discrepancy in like polling random people and the average consumer, the gap is not that big as to who would support an Xbox versus a PS4. It's closer than the internet would let you believe.
I don't know about that. I have some poll information, which we will talk about in a minute, or we can talk about now.
Let's do it.
I don't know if this is the same one you saw. This was a holiday shopping intention poll. So it's basically 1,200 people surveyed in the U.S. Not a ton of people, but I assume there was some sort of cross-section there.
Hey, I think these people have done stats before. They know their sample sizes.
I would disagree with that.
I'm going to trust them.
Well, you don't know.
1,200 people who are entering EB games.
Oh, it is a Reuters poll, so it is potentially somewhat objective, I guess. I wasn't sure who was putting all this information out there. But so they said out of the 1,297 people surveyed, okay, now I just want to double check when this was, too. This was just like a week or two ago. So 26% said they are likely to purchase the PS4. 15% said Xbox One. And on top of that, when you narrow it down to just people under the age of 40, which is only 400 people, so maybe not as reliable.
Great cross-section of the average gamer right there.
Yeah. Well, I don't
60%.
What is the average age now? Don't they say it's
Seniors.
around like
35, I thought.
35? Yeah.
60% seniors, question.
Well, I was going to say, they probably, they might not even know the difference. It's like how all people used to call every video game system Nintendo or
They stopped all
PlayStation. Oh, yeah, Xbox.
They stopped all the mall walkers as they were going about their business.
Well, to be fair, I mean, some of these people might be answering that they're going to be buying it because they're going to be buying it for their kids. I mean, sure, like I'm sure a lot
Get
of
to the
people over
numbers.
40 do buy these things. So under 40, 41% said PS4 and 27% Xbox One.
Isn't that the exact same?
no.
The other, it was
15.
26 versus 15, 41 versus 27.
So I think the second sample is probably smaller, only 400 people, but I think that's probably more accurate than your seniors poll,
Yeah.
the first one.
So I do think that that's probably a bad sign for Microsoft. I guess one thing that I hadn't really thought about. I mean, did you guys pre-order
No.
for both? Mm-hmm. Okay, because I haven't pre-ordered, and I'm curious if that
What do
will.
you got? Like, who are you? How have you not pre-ordered the new consoles?
You know, I'll see what happens. Play it by ear.
Who's wearing the pants in these families? Both of you.
The wife, obviously.
Come on.
I'm not in like, I don't need to get it day one. I'm not that.
I do. I'm
I know you
fucking
do.
starved for new consoles.
I'm with Dwight. I'm a traditionally a late adopter of everything.
I'm so over PS3 and Xbox 360 right now. They feel like paperweights in my living room. Give me something new. Give it to me right.
All right, so here's the big thing. Let's talk launch titles for both systems.
Let's.
Because this is the thing I think about. You know, initially I get excited, but then I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the store on launch day and pick this up, but what am I actually going to be able to play?
We'll see which ones make me launch.
Okay, so PS4, you've got...
Flaccid.
Now, these are these are the day one launch titles, okay? This isn't launch window bullshit.
I'm currently debating taking November 15th through 26th off work
Okay.
to spend some quality time with these. So I'll
Okay.
tell you if I'm buying it day one.
Okay.
Okay.
This is PS4. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
We'll probably be upgrading my PS3 copy through the Best Buy program next.
For PlayStation, though?
Yeah.
Battlefield 4.
I really want to play Battlefield, so yeah, I might get that. Unless I get it for PC if I've built my PC by then.
Blacklight Retribution.
What?
Blacklight Retribution.
That's
Blacklight Retribution.
Probably yes.
That is a free-to-play game of some sort.
Oh,
I
then
don't-
definitely yes.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
Probably upgrading a copy.
Contrast, which is a PSN game.
Absolutely, and my friends who I work with worked on that game.
Yeah. I worked with a bunch of the guys that are working there now.
Contrast.
Place out of Montreal.
Absolutely.
Compulsion games.
Yeah.
DC Universe Online.
Nah.
Did we even play our copy?
Will it be free to play?
We should fire that back
Will it be
up.
free to play on this?
It looks like
so.
yes.
Because my
yes,
biggest
it is.
problem was how slow the interface was, and it seemed like a real memory whore. So it could be better on PS4. I will give it a chance. I will download it. Next.
This list is a bit long, actually, to be going through like this.
Are these launch window or launch day? Are we?
I said they're day one. Day one.
Okay, just checking.
No launch window bullshit.
All right, let's do a quick rapid
let's
fire
go.
yes, no.
Okay, rapid fire. Dive kick. PSN. Should I skip the PSN stuff?
Yes. No, because we're not going to skip for Xbox.
Okay.
No,
go.
I will not be buying Dive Kick.
Drive Club.
Yes.
FIFA 14.
Upgrading.
Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition.
No.
Just Dance 2014.
Absolutely not.
Killzone Shadowfall.
Absolutely.
Knack.
Yep, probably.
Lego Marvel Superheroes.
No.
Madden 25.
Upgrading.
Minecraft.
No.
NBA 2K14.
Upgrading.
NBA Live 14.
Yeah, probably.
Dangerous.
This is getting a little insane. Need for Speed Rivals.
No.
Pinball Arcade.
No.
Putty Squad. I don't know what that
No.
is.
Is it a Power Rangers game spin-off on the putties?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Okay, no.
The Playroom.
No.
Well, actually, that comes with it, apparently. It says it's a
Yes.
packet. Resogun.
Like the name, possibly.
Skylander Swap Force.
No.
What?
I'm a Disney Infinity guy. You know that.
Super Motherload.
Like the name.
Switch Galaxy Ultra. Tiny Brains. Warframe. War Thunder. Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs, probably.
All right.
Warframe's
I'll tell you
also
this.
free to
I'm
play.
buying all those games and upgrading those games. Maybe after reading that, I might not take that week off.
Well,
I might just work.
that's
You'll need to buy all those goddamn games.
that's a bad sign, Frank. So,
I'm not excited to go pick that up right now.
okay. Xbox One.
Get ready.
Do you anticipate this being better?
So Infamous is not coming out day one.
It's window.
So the first game I'll put into my machine, unless there's really good reviews for NBA Live 14, will be either Knack or Killzone Shadowfall.
It's going to be Knack.
I would guess.
My money's on Knack.
Those are the only two for me that seem like exclusive, potentially console seller games for PS4 right now.
Although Blacklight Retribution looked promising from what I remember.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like the squad-based post-apocalyptic something, I think.
I don't recall, but
While we're on PS4 quick, did you guys see the streaming content of Deep Down,
No.
the
No.
Capcom game for PS4?
No.
Looked amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Nice.
So Xbox One. Now, so you are anticipating this being way better than PS4.
For me personally.
Okay.
And I would say
I'm with you, but I'm not buying either.
I'll tell you right now, aside from the games, and the thing I'm most curious about
Yep.
is the social, the new interfaces, how that all works, even on Xbox.
Watching sports on Xbox
Not just
One.
that, but how upgraded
Share
achievement
button.
works, interfaces, share button, social networking. That, to me, will be a big deal breaker on which console I play more.
I'm really interested in the cloud computing aspect of Xbox.
Yes, you are.
It's going to be awesome, I think. And I think people are just kind of tossing it aside too quickly. Although I heard somewhere, I don't know where, that Microsoft is in the process of making a few like cloud computing only games right now, which could be interesting also. Basically streaming new games.
Interesting.
Very.
Here we go.
It's fired up.
All right. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
No.
Battlefield 4.
No.
Your tune's changing already. I don't
Well,
know.
I have
he's
these on
already getting
PS4.
Okay. Call of Duty Ghosts.
Potentially rebuy on Xbox.
Crimson Dragon.
God, yes. $20 day one digital? Absolutely.
Dead Rising 3.
Yeah, probably.
FIFA 14.
No.
Fighter Within.
No.
Forza Motorsport 6 or 5? 5.
Most likely.
Just Dance 14.
No.
Killer Instinct.
Absolutely.
Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Yes.
Loco Cycle.
No.
Madden 25. NBA.
No.
Blah, blah, blah. Need for Speed Rivals.
No.
Peggle 2.
Obviously. That's probably one or two on my list.
System seller.
It kind of is, like, to be honest
I
with you.
love. Do you know how much? Okay, there's a Peggle clone on Facebook called Hot Shots.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm interested.
you don't play?
No.
There's 140 worlds with 10 levels each.
Holy
Okay.
smokes.
I have perfect on every level in the game. I have 140 completions and 1,040 completions and 1,040 aces.
1,400.
Sorry, I was wrong then. There's 104 levels. Worlds. So are we. But that's how big of a loser I am. And how much I like Peggle type games.
Yeah. Okay.
Any Candy Crush exclusive content for Xbox?
Not that
Okay.
I'm seeing. Power Star Golf.
No.
Rise, Son of Rome.
Intrigued. Very intrigued. Review pending. Might not even matter. Probably going to get that.
Skylanders Swap Force.
No.
Watch Dogs.
No.
Zoo Tycoon.
Interested.
Zumba Fitness World Party.
Got to keep this body in business? Possibly.
That's it.
Pretty good.
I mean, for me, I don't know. Dead Rising 3 is interesting, but I got burned. I got burned buying Dead Rising 1 for the 360 as my first title, and
how'd you get burned?
Didn't like it. Played it a little bit and just,
I got news for you. You're not going to like Dead Rising 3.
Well, I keep hoping that they'll fix some of the issues that I have with the franchise.
I was surprised at how similar Dead Rising 2 was to Dead Rising 1.
Yeah.
Very similar.
That's what I hear.
I'm a little surprised. So I just had like a list of games that have fallen out of the launch day, and they're actually, for Xbox, some of the more interesting ones to me personally. I thought Project Spark was launch day.
Never.
Below, Sunset Overdrive, Quantum Break, Titanfall, and D4, which is like some crime game.
I never thought any of those were launch day.
Titanfall is launch window, according to my source for all this stuff is IGN, which seems like they would be up to date on it. But see, to me, the two biggest within the launch window are Infamous and Titanfall on either side.
And Destiny is not in the launch window, right?
Not that I can see.
I think it slipped to like second quarter 2014.
That is my number one most anticipated game at this point. Hands down.
I'm pretty excited. I'm interested in Titanfall though. I'm definitely leaning towards PS4, but based on the launch titles, I kind of am leaning a little more towards Xbox, which I guess is what you were saying. But I don't know.
I still love PS4, and PS3 is still my favorite current generation console, which is why and I love that I can upgrade my PS3 versions for a lot of games to PS4, which I will be doing. So I'll probably end up playing more PS4 in general for multi-platform games, but I'm excited about the exclusives more on Xbox.
I mean, the biggest games coming out still at the end of the year are multi-platform ones like Assassin's Creed 4, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty.
I would add not on next-gen consoles Arkham Origins.
Yes, and Watch Dogs. So all those games are going to be huge, and they're not, you don't need to buy a new console to play them. So, again, I'm still just kind of wondering how many people are going to go out and buy these right away.
Don't you want the best-looking versions of those games?
Nope.
That just sparkle on your HD TV?
I guess.
That you can share stuff with your friends?
I'm curious to see what the difference is going to be, how much of an upgrade that's going to be. But
I don't like to share.
All right.
So, any other thoughts on launches of both these?
I need it. I wish I could pay to get them earlier.
That was your big idea, right? From like a year ago?
Yeah.
Do you think, like, if Titanfall was a day one launch title for Xbox, would that... I mean, because I think we all agree that PS4 is probably, at least initially, going to outsell the Xbox. And
I would also add in the long run, when you consider my favorite IPs are not even in the launch window for PS4.
Right.
And you're going to see those games come out eventually. And I think PS4 is actually banking on the fact that there won't be a lot of early adopters in general. And they're
taking their time. They're not rushing them out.
They're going to put out... They put a lot of quality PS3 games out this year, as opposed to Microsoft.
Well, even look right now.
Yeah.
Look how many have coming up. Like, Below just came out. Yeah. And then you have... I think there's another exclusive coming out.
Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah, that's Below. Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. But isn't there another exclusive still coming out? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking of all the other games that are coming out, like, in the next month.
Yeah, so I think they're counting on PS3 being the big seller this Christmas, and I think they're going to make their push next Christmas.
I think that's a smart decision on their part. I know for me, I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. I'll probably end up buying a PS4. I personally think the Xbox will turn out to be the better system down the long run.
This guy is so invested in cloud technology.
I'm loving it.
It's all over him.
You can smell it.
I'm going to start calling him cumulonimbus.
Now, when you say
What?
when you say that you think it's going to be the better system, you mean it's going to be the most successful, or you think it's actually going to have the better games? And
Oh no, I think technology-wise, it's better. Not
great.
like I think I think the bases are almost the same. I think the cloud computing, my bag is going to put it over the top.
Cloud, it's covering his brain. It's the brain cloud from Joe versus Volcano. It's
all
too
over me.
much.
My head's in the cloud. I can't get out.
That's probably what I should have said. Your head's in the cloud. It would be the perfect thing to say.
You kind of missed the boat on that one.
How did I go to Joe versus Volcano? What the fuck? Heads in the clouds, Frankie. Come on.
I was just going to say that I did read something not that long ago where there was this report from developers saying that a lot of them were saying that the PS4 is way more powerful than the Xbox One. But I don't know how much stock to put in that. Like, there was kind of...
Way more? What does way more mean?
Well, I don't know the specifics, but there was definitely articles that were refuting it as well and saying that there's no real way... You can't compare stuff the way you used to be able to compare, because it really depends what you're doing with the hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't like studied what they each have, but from what I remember seeing of the two stats, or the two tech specs, they're pretty close on most things. I think the PS4 had the slightly better RAM, the GDDR RAM. They had 5, and I think the Xbox had 3 or something.
Right.
Which will be better, but will it be very better? I don't know. Like greater, much greater? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a graphics programmer.
Can you replace
so.
a cloud?
No, you can't replace a cloud. A cloud is everywhere. It takes up everything. You're breathing the cloud right now.
The cloud has no bounds.
That's right. The bounds is...
It's a gas. It expands to whatever volume you put it in.
The bounds is whatever Microsoft decides to put into their servers.
All right, so...
Watch over the cloud. It's coming for you.
So anything else before we move on?
Okay. Absolutely not. Please move on.
All right, well...
So back to the cloud.
I guess we should maybe talk a bit about GTA 5 before we kind of get into everything else we've all played individually. And I know you haven't really had a chance to play it, right, Huck City?
No, I haven't at all yet.
But there's sort of a hot button topic that we're going to tie in with this with regards to the launch of GTA Online and all the problems that have come up from that. But why don't we just talk...
The game?
General impressions. I mean, we've both only been able to play a bit of it. You've played
barely
more than
scratched
me.
the surface.
Yeah.
I will say when we get to what we played, I have played about 15 games for an hour to 2 hour each.
Right.
Because there's so many new games that have come out, and a lot that I've been interested in. And even as I'm talking, I'm remembering other games I bought that I played an hour of and adding it to my list. But in terms of GTA, the history of GTA, I've never been crazy about it. It hasn't been the big deal it is to everyone else. And even GTA 4, I liked it. I didn't love it. I couldn't believe that it got a 10 on certain websites. I found it frustrating to play at times. And to me, Red Dead blew it away. So I was slightly hesitant coming into GTA 5. It wasn't my most anticipated game by any means.
It is the second highest Metacritic of all time right now.
Yeah. And I will say, from what I've played of GTA 5, it is way more fun than GTA 4. I think the driving... I used to take cabs to half of the missions in GTA 4. I drive to everything in this one. I like the power-ups, especially Franklin's driving power-up. It makes driving way more fun. I find even the walk... I think they changed sprint back to what it used to be. It just feels less concentrated on reality and more on making the experience fun. And I've seen people say, getting away from the cops is... I might have been Colin, I think, saying it's like a game of Pac-Man. The way they've changed the map and the rate... And it is. It's everything about it is more fun. And That's what I like about it. I like the strangers and freaks missions, the side missions that are just weird ways of doing some wacky shit in that world, probably influenced a bit by Saints Row and what they were doing.
Right.
I don't know. So far, I'm really enjoying it. The one thing I've never been crazy about in GTA is the writing and some of the characters. I don't mind when they kind of do satirical stuff. I don't know if you've gotten to the phone press conference yet and stuff like that. Obviously commenting on Apple, and I'm okay with that stuff. It's when I actually think it's the dialogue of the main characters that I think is intended to be cool and edgy that just makes my eyes roll half of the time.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And that's the only thing that I'm not crazy about, but everything else more than makes up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel weird really even offering any sort of opinion on it because I haven't played it that much. But I just, I agree, like, control-wise, it's a huge improvement from GTA 4.
Yeah, like, pivots used to be so annoying in GTA 4. Like, just walking somewhere, I would bump into people.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I had control.
Yeah. And, like, driving around the town at times, it almost reminds me a little bit of that Burnout open world game that they had. I don't know, it just, the driving feels just a lot more fun, and like you get that sense of speed like right away. And story wise, like it's interesting you bring up Red Dead. Like that's such a good comparison for like Red Dead. The story and the atmosphere and all that stuff is so great. And I think GTA, it gets a bit of a pass because of all the humor that people kind of were like, well, you're not supposed to take it seriously. But it's like, well, they could like maybe try and make it a little more serious and actually do something dramatic with it, and that would be impressive. And I mean, granted, I've barely scratched the surface of any narrative or any character stuff that's there. I think there's something there, but
the counterbalance to that is you don't have the one factor that brings a lot of people to GTA, which is the ability to take a car, get some guns, helicopters, and just run amok in the city and fuck shit up.
Right. Which
to me is not interesting at all.
I disagree. I think that's pretty fun. I
see the fun in it. Even at bachelor parties.
Yes.
Where we play people are loving it.
Yeah.
Eating it up.
But I think
it's just not fun to me.
I think over time that kind of stuff can get boring, but I guess for me, the frustration with these games has always been their size and the fact that it's so easy to get distracted and lose track of what you're doing. Because, my gaming time is limited, and I like to be, quote-unquote, productive with it. I like to feel like I'm progressing through a game. And when I find that, I've actually spent 4 hours just screwing around doing nothing because I got, off on some tangent doing something else, I don't know, that's when I'm just kind of like, maybe my time would be better spent somewhere else. But obviously I'm very much in the minority with something like that. And I do just I'm very much impressed by the world, the size of it, like we were at your place kind of going through and looking at some of the LA landmarks that they've recreated, and all that stuff was a lot of fun.
The hill, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going through the valleys and hills and the oceanside stuff. Blew my mind how good that stuff looks.
Yeah. And, there's just always little things that surprise you. Like, when we were at your place, the first thing I did, I was like, okay, I'm going to fuck shit up. How can I fuck shit up the most in this game? And there were some garbage bags on the side of the road. I'm like,
I'm going to take out the trash.
Fuck it. I'm going to kick these out into the middle of the road, and people are going to drive over these garbage bags. And, well, first of all, I actually could do that. You can actually, I walked over it a few times, kicked it out. But then, the cars started weaving around the garbage bags. And I was like, oh, man, this, okay, I guess it's not like that's technically a super hard thing to do if they already have avoidance algorithms built in. But it's just they took the time to do that, So there's all these little things. And, I drove to a movie theater. And I thought, do they actually have movies you can watch? They do. They're I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes long. And I sat there and actually watched this fake, weird-ass foreign movie that seemed like it was supposed to be like a spoof of a Jodorowsky movie or something. And I don't know why. It seems insane that they put that much effort into this thing that's not even like I guess you can buy the theaters and make money off of them. So it is tied into the gameplay a little bit, but just those details are, crazy. So I like all that stuff.
I thought the first thing you did was went to the strip club, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I was at your place at the bachelor party because obviously that's where you're going to go at a bachelor party. But and we also played golf, which was pretty fun.
Not on board with you on the golf being fun. I'll just play a golf game. I appreciate the ability to put a ton of things in the game.
Right.
I just, when it gets to the golf and tennis and other things, I'll just play a golf or tennis game if that's what I want to do.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. I just, it's one of those things where, like, you're literally walking to the ball after you hit it. Like, you're still in the GTA universe, in that immersive world, just playing a golf game. Like, that's kind of crazy, but...
I did like when you struck someone else on the golf course. It said you violated the rules of the course in your rounds. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So there's obviously, tons of, you can just make your own fun, and that's fine. But I guess the thing that kind of distinguishes this from the other GTA games, and that a lot of people have been talking about, is the 3-character thing, which, I haven't seen a ton of because I haven't unlocked really. I mean, I've played with the two different ones so far. I haven't unlocked the third one. I guess you haven't either.
No, I'm embarrassed to say.
But, I like that, and I'm not quite sure what that brings to the table in terms of the story of how, like, I assume they all kind of intertwine at some point. But
I think it works. It can be frustrating driving and shooting at the same time. So I've done missions where the two of them are together, and I'm shooting with one, switching back to driving, and I think that works really well.
Yeah,
and I was surprised the stat system for building up stats for those guys actually works pretty quickly. I was kind of worried it was going to be a slow burn and I would have to play for 60 hours before that stuff built up. It moves at a reasonable pace, and I think that works really well. The only concern I have is if I'm going to miss out on events and stuff for one character by focusing on one, and do I need to keep switching back to make sure I'm not missing things? If that's not the case, I'm fine with it. And before the forums start chiming in about how can you guys even talk about this game? You haven't even unlocked the 3rd character. I know. I know. I'm slightly embarrassed, but I got a lot of games to play and a lot of stuff I'm interested in. And I'll get to it eventually.
Yep.
I'm a busy man.
So I take it you guys haven't got to any of the heists yet? I hear that's a big selling feature too.
It opens on a bank heist, which is an awesome opening. Yeah, because that's another thing. I remember a lot of the other GTA games sort of starting out with very minor jobs to do, and you're kind of like,
go pick up your girlfriend.
Yeah, like, this is not fun. Like, definitely GTA 4, I remember it really dragged at the beginning where I was like, oh, just get out of my face. I just want to drive around. But this, opening with that bank heist was awesome. But yeah, I don't have too much else to say about it as of yet.
Yeah, I like it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah. So the other thing we should talk about now, neither of us have tried GTA Online, which recently launched, and I was actually part of the beta test group for it because our friend Chin works at Rockstar, and he invited me to it, and I didn't even play it once because I didn't have time. So
what a good beta tester.
I was a huge help there, but I apparently it's a disaster. Like, there's just been all kinds of things going wrong, people losing save files and not being able to connect. I don't know if it's been resolved as of today. I think they said that they had fixed some of the major issues, but obviously the thing that comes to mind here is that I know we talked about it before with things like Oblivion and just these huge games that launch, and there's no way you can squash every bug. There's going to be problems. So you put it out there, but when it's kind of as big of a deal as it is and things go wrong, you have to wonder, is it right for them to put it out to the public at that point? Is it right for reviews? As you mentioned, Huck City. It is the second highest Metacritic rating right now, and the online component of this game is broken. How is that possible? Should people have to go back and reassess their scores?
Well, I think it was almost completely a marketing strategy to almost separate the two games. It's
Right.
GTA 5 and GTA Online. And in my head, they're not the same game for whatever reason. Essentially, I feel they're different. And it almost feels more like a bonus, the way they released it, than a core component of the game. And I think they get away with it because the game itself is so huge that you don't feel like you're being ripped off with what you're buying. So I get that. To me, I don't know how buggy it is. It's just, I actually expected them to wait even longer to launch it.
I was surprised how quickly.
Yeah, when they said, "Oh, it's going to come later," I was expecting next year, and so it depends. Are you happier that you have something in your hands to play, or would you rather waited 4 more months before they got it right?
Yeah, I don't really know why they would have pushed it out so quickly, because you would think that it's a huge game. You know, it just came out a couple of weeks ago. Surely people are not tired of it and trading it in yet. Like, there's no way. So,
Oh, there's a way.
well, I guess maybe there are a few people out there, but I would have definitely thought wait till January even or something, you know, and then all of a sudden bring people back in. But, I just think you're right. They wanted to separate the two. And I think that's actually confused some people, because I've talked to people who thought you had to buy a separate game to play GTA Online. So I don't know if that was necessarily smart. But that's the thing. Like, everybody's kind of doing this where they'll put out a patch or put out some DLC soon afterwards. So those components are no longer subject to review, and, you know, you're off the hook because it was just a little add-on that we threw in after the fact. It's not the thing that's out of the box there. And I think that's a problem.
I think I'm with Frank, though. I feel like they're two separate things, but I think the thing that's confusing is that I heard you have to access it through the GTA 5 menu.
Yep.
Not just like download this app on your PlayStation Store and it'll go somewhere like a PSN game. You click it, you go online. I think if they had done that, it would have made it a lot more obvious that they were two separate entities. Maybe they didn't want non-GTA 5 owners to be able to play it, which kind of makes sense.
They want you to have the disc.
Yeah, they want you. Yeah, I guess you're probably streaming content off the disc. But from what I read of that article you passed around, Sean, about from Gama Sutra, is that it's, to me, what it sounds like they're going to do is, it sounds like when they release the next GTA, or even, you know, in a year, they're going to start adding the other cities to this online world, and it's going to become like this massive WoW sort of GTA world. So what do they have, like San Fran, LA, and New York right now? Essentially,
I think so.
I know they have New York and LA for sure. I can't remember what the third one is.
Isn't
Miami,
Vice City, Miami?
And what's San
Vice
Andreas?
City.
San Francisco?
No, LA. I thought.
Is it? I never played San Andreas.
I thought that's where this one is too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
LA.
it's LA. Yeah, so LA, New York, Miami.
And Miami. Okay, so it sounds like I can see them connecting all these worlds in GTA Online, and I imagine that the next GTA game may not even be a disc-based release. It might just be you have to pay for access to this section of GTA Online.
So
and
a
then,
GTA MMO, basically.
essentially, yeah. So then you have all your game content, single player or multiplayer, in the cloud.
There we
You know
go.
what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
So, but I mean, because of that, you think it's okay how they've launched it, and you don't have an issue with it?
My only issue is that it's only accessible through the launcher of GTA 5. But I do think, so I think right now it's confusing that they are separate. But I think in the long scheme, I think they're going to add content that is not GTA 5 specific to this GTA Online, which will, in the long run, make it much more obvious that it's a separate product.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, if that was the case, then we should be seeing separate reviews come up for GTA Online.
I think we are. Aren't there?
Yeah, there's
people
some.
doing
I've seen
separate?
reviews in progress.
Yeah.
You just want to see a 4.
You just want to see GTA 5
You want
go
to see
down.
them bring GT
I'm just,
down.
I mean, obviously we've talked about this before, but yeah, I mean, reviews of video games are ridiculous sometimes. Like the Metacritic ratings and all the politics and bullshit behind it. Like it's, you know, obviously it's not really specific to this one issue. There's a million other things wrong with the system, but it's just another thing that makes you say, okay, why is this game getting perfect scores? And
Someone's got to be number one, Sean.
I actually think they're kind of consistent.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about Metacritic is that if you get one guy who fucks them and gives them a 1, they're way down there now.
yeah, but I mean, I guess I almost
Well, not way down there, but they're not going to be like 9.8 or whatever they are now.
Yeah. I mean, part of me actually doesn't want consistency. Part of me kind of wants, you know, somebody to just play the game and whatever experience they have, they put the score down on the table and say, this is how I felt about the game. This is my subjective rating. Instead of sitting there and going, well, you know, the graphics were this good, so that's about a 0.5 bump, and you know the sound wasn't quite good, so subtract 0.1. Like, it's so technical, and
It's true. At some point, I just see it getting closer to movies where it's more about the experience.
yeah,
Right?
Thumbs up, thumbs down versus...
Well, not only that, but like Sean said, bump up for this, bump up for that, bump up for all these little things that you can judge on their own. And I don't think you do that as much with movies. I think you'll say, the cinematography was amazing, the score, but I think it's more about the sum of the parts than it is for video games. Now, what I do find, though, is the most popular movies of all time and well-regarded are also sometimes the most polarizing. They can be aggressive, especially critically acclaimed movies,
right,
can divide audiences.
yeah,
And that's what you don't get out of gaming reviews. It seems to be everyone either loves it or everyone shits on it. I know that's what you want. You want an experience that's polarizing, and I think that's why you tweeted me today. I think that's why Beyond Two Souls is the one you want so bad. Like,
well, I didn't say I wanted it so bad, but I agree with what you're saying, that the mixed reviews had me more interested in playing it than if it was just universally praised.
which is also ironic considering it's the most like a movie of any other game.
Yeah, and maybe that's why you can have that wide range of opinions. But yeah, I mean, right now video games are reviewed as if they're fridges or consumer products for the most part. It's about, you know, how good does it run? Is it worth my money? All that kind of stuff. And it's not really, is it, you know, fulfilling artistically or entertaining wise? And
That's my biggest complaint with gaming reviews is the idea of value,
right.
which is also not in movie reviews. Titanic and an indie movie are reviewed on the same scale.
Yeah.
So now, once cost is a factor too, that muddles the equation for sure.
Yeah, that's true, because some games are, you know, downloadable titles for $8 and
Yeah, or like free to play games. It's probably not that great, really, if you compare it to Halo or other games. Like, well, what do you want? It's free. It's pretty good for a free game.
yeah. It's true.
Candy Crush 10 out of 10, right?
It's an 8.
So, any other stuff to add about GTA 5 at this point?
No, looking forward to finishing her off, if I ever do. Part of me seriously wants to wait in anticipation of just a PS4 or Xbox One version. I can't help but think that's coming.
Or a PC version for your Steam machine?
I know that's coming. I almost want to just wait for that version.
Yeah. But then you'll be so behind. There's going to be new DLC, new content. You got to catch up. Are you planning on checking it out at some point, Huck City, or not interested?
I'm planning on checking it out at some point. The question is when at some point is.
Yeah.
I have a growing list of games to purchase, and I don't think my local library will be picking up a copy of GTA 5.
You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what else you guys been playing? Let's talk about some other stuff.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh boy. Okay.
Are we gonna like do a roundtable type thing?
Sure, let's do that. I think we all have a lot. I know I have a lot.
I'm generally gonna breeze through mine. I'm just gonna highlight a few things because I've got a lot.
So I've been living off of the old library, and PlayStation Plus has been giving me tons of games to play. So let's just start at one of the big dogs. Battlefield 3 came free on PlayStation Plus.
We were chastised
constantly
for not talking
mentioned in our comments.
Yes.
Yep.
So
although I think he said he's never listening again, so I don't even know if you have to mention it.
Yeah, don't bother.
Well, I'm mad. I didn't play it on PC, so that could be a problem. But overall, so Battlefield 3 was the first kind of like military shooter I've played probably since Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, I think. I haven't played any Black Ops. I played no Treyarch games and no Modern Warfare 2. So it's been, I don't know how many, 5 years or something since I've played a game like this. And I was a little disappointed actually with it. I liked, I was...
Single player or multiplayer? What were you playing?
Single player. I did play some multiplayer actually and did really enjoy it. I didn't play that much.
Didn't you have to buy an online code for multiplayer?
No. Like PlayStation Plus, I guess, somehow tied in. But I really enjoyed I guess I'll start with the multiplayer. Well, first, the game looks amazing. There's no doubting that the game is incredibly looking. But the multiplayer was a lot of fun. I found I had the same enjoyment. I think in a few shows past, I talked about the multiplayer for Killzone 2 or 3 and really enjoying that. And I found I got the same sort of enjoyment. There was something, I don't know, that I liked about working with the guys on my team. And although I would never turn my headset on in any sort of war shooter multiplayer game, just the fact that like there's like the non-verbal communication of people like going to a door and covering and then other people advancing and then you advancing back at them. That was all really fun. And I felt like if you died, you got back into the action pretty quickly and were able to sort of like acclimatize to the maps relatively quickly. I really enjoyed the multiplayer.
They do a good job of spreading out action in the map too.
Yeah. Yeah, I found there were
so many people.
I found there were certain hotspots, but overall it wasn't just like, I never felt like when I played Counter-Strike years ago, I didn't play very much, and I always felt like I was just getting sniped from who knows where and dying immediately and not having that much fun. Whereas this, I never felt like that. So that being said, multiplayer is great. I loved it. I totally understand why everyone loves the multiplayer in these games. But the single player, I had all the same frustrations that I've had with basically every military shooter that I've ever played. My biggest pet peeve in these military shooters is the AI with the best vision I've ever seen and the best accuracy of anyone alive. Like I'll come out of a door and hide behind a wall, and I literally peek out for a second and I get headshotted. Not even a second, half a second. Because they just cheap out on the AI and don't actually do vision cones. They just know where you are. And as soon as your line of sight to them is there, they shoot you. Which is so frustrating because I found a lot of times maybe I was not, but I think I'd be in good cover. And all of a sudden I'd be dead. And to me, like, just so frustrating. And I think I was playing on normal, and I couldn't find the setting to change it down to easy because I was getting so frustrated with this. So that was one pet peeve, but the super accuracy is just so frustrating in these games. I don't know, maybe all these guys are snipers and can shoot me from a mile down the road, but that's not what I was expecting as a player of this game.
So this is that's just like basically bots, right? Like is there a campaign for Battlefield?
This is the campaign.
Oh, there is a campaign.
Yeah, this is
I
the
didn't
campaign.
even know it had one.
Yeah, this is the campaign. The other thing that frustrated me about the AI in general is that I'd be in a squad. The squad guys would literally be standing, not crouching. wide open, and everyone would be firing at me.
Okay, let's take. So you're saying that, but the same problems happen in The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, totally.
But it's okay in that. They have to do that because or else you wouldn't be able to complete the game.
No,
it'd be more frustrating otherwise if.
Oh, it would totally
if they did.
No. The thing that would be frustrating in The Last of Us is if you bumped into Ellie all the time. If she got shot at, that'd be fine.
I don't know.
Well,
if she died,
if she was dying, it'd be annoying. But if those guys die, I don't care. They're my squad.
So why do you care about them in Battlefield?
Because I have 1,000 people shooting at me and I can't move anywhere.
Oh, I see that. They're not focusing anything on them.
Yeah.
All right, you're okay.
It's kind of a different game too, right? Like, I mean, it's
all I'm saying
breaks the illusion. Definitely,
if you're simulating a war, and I don't have any sort of like military memorabilia on me that points to me as the leader, and yet they're all firing at me.
Yep.
I don't quite understand what's happening.
And I agree in the context. These are problems in every military shooter.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah. I was disappointed that this portion of the game had not advanced since my 5-year ago experience where I remembered this happening exactly in the same way. I actually had quite a bit of collision problems where I'd get stuck in collisions and not be able to get out and have to restart checkpoints. That was kind of frustrating, actually. I didn't expect that. They had a plane mission or two. I can't remember. Maybe just one. It was near the beginning, and I loved it. I thought it was a great change of pace from the normal on-foot combat. Now, the only peeve is that you can't actually play as the plane. You can't fly the plane. You're only the gunner, which was still fine. I still thought it was great, even though it was kind of on rails. It was a nice change of pace. The other vehicle mission they have is tank missions, and I got frustrated in the tank missions because they have these semi-open world concepts, but if you go down the wrong path even slightly, it basically just ends the mission for you and says you've gone off mission and fails you, and you go back to the previous checkpoint. So in quite a few stages, I would think I was going the right way, and then all of a sudden the mission would just end. I'd get no sort of warning, you're going the wrong way. There, just from a gameplay mechanic standpoint, it was really frustrating to me to have that, go on. The other thing is I'm sick of kill everyone checkpoints. Drives me nuts. And I think coming off of The Last of Us, where you were able to just kind of run through levels and get to a door, and that would kind of be your checkpoint. You could either kill everyone or just go through the door, and then you barricade the door. It was so refreshing, I think, that then coming back to Battlefield 3 and being in so many situations where I couldn't progress until I killed, 25 people or whatever. It was just a little strange to me. I don't know of a way around it, but it got a little tiresome. Yeah, I think that's really it. I enjoyed the story. Probably the best one I've played through since Modern Warfare 1. I think that's it. That's about it for that game. Anyways, overall, enjoyed the mechanics to a degree. Didn't enjoy the AI. Thought the story was good. The multiplayer was awesome. Graphics were awesome. I don't know what I'd give it a rating of. Maybe 3 out of 5.
Whoa.
Yeah. But the multiplayer would be higher. The multiplayer would be the most of that.
You're going to get hate mail for that one.
That's fine. The multiplayer is awesome. I don't doubt that. The mechanics overall, if you're just playing person versus person PvP, it's great. There's no problem. It's when you factor in the AI, and I don't like the AI. Maybe I'm some sort of AI snob. I don't know. But
yeah, you are.
I think that's been established.
Yeah. So that was the real downfall of Battlefield for me, the AI.
Okay. Frank, what do you want?
I'll say Splinter Cell Blacklist. Did you play this at all, Sean?
I did, actually, yes.
So we have a lot of friends who worked on this game and have been working on this game for a while.
Yep, so we can't say anything bad about it.
I actually really like what I've played so far. I've only done the first 2.5 missions, I think. But it's to me, what's interesting playing this game, coming off of The Last of Us being the last major game I played, is 2 different ways of playing a stealth game. And the way I break it down is Last of Us feels like stealth survival. This game feels like stealth action. And they both completely work for me. It's Splinter Cell's really fast-paced combat, not too much waiting around and methodical type behavior, at least the way I play. And I thought the gameplay was really fluid, fun switching between cover. You're walking, but you're not walking too slow. Like, even when you're in cover, there's a good pace to the gameplay. And so far, I mean, the one thing you could say, the engine's a bit dated, but I don't think it looks bad necessarily. But compared to Last of Us, it's not as impressive.
Right.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. What I really want to do, though, is I find the plots in these games can be a little complicated. And I hear it's not super long, so I'd rather just pick a day where I know I've got nothing to do, and just play it beginning to end, which I haven't had an opportunity to do yet.
Yeah, I was really hoping to do that too, because I was excited that the campaign was fairly short. But I did play basically the first level and a little bit of the second one, and I was really enjoying it. I know that there were some people who were, I guess, stealth purists who were a little concerned about them going in more of an action direction. And while I can't necessarily speak for them, because I'm not the biggest fan of stealth games in general, I thought it was a really nice balance. You know, like, I really liked the mechanic they came up with where you can sort of just hit a button to jump from cover to cover.
Oh, yeah.
It just, the pace of
I think that might have been in Conviction, too, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Never played that one. But, yeah, it really helps with the pace of the game and stuff. I really like all the settings, from what I saw. I actually kind of felt, with previous Splinter Cell games, I never felt like this was in any way connected to anything in reality. But I felt like in this one, like, you know, when you're being notified of high-value targets and things like this, like, it, you know, maybe having just seen stuff like Zero Dark 30, movies like this, watching Homeland, I don't know, it all kind of felt like in that kind of world for me, and so that really added to my enjoyment.
I would say even this, I guess, technically second mission after the tutorial, having a level in the day, like the daylight, I feel like these games were always at night.
Right.
That added another cool aspect to it and showed off the visuals, and
yeah,
I thought that was awesome. The only thing I would say is Conviction had really cool projection of text and tutorial stuff, and I thought the presentation was amazing. It almost feels like they cut back on that stuff in this one. I'm not seeing a ton of it, and I really like that. So that's kind of, not a complaint, but I missed that from Conviction and thought it was really cool.
Right. What did you think of the whole, like, it seems to me like they definitely borrowed from Mass Effect the idea of having sort of this home base, like a traveling mobile ship that you come to in between missions where you talk to crew members and upgrade your shit and all that.
Tough to say at this point. I haven't played enough.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, the first time I played it, I played the tutorial, turned it off, came back, and I'm in this ship, and I'm like, where am I? I don't know what the fuck this place is. So I deleted my save game data and started from the beginning again.
Oh, okay.
I must have missed a bunch of tutorial stuff on the ship, and I couldn't. I'm a dum-dum.
Couldn't get it.
I need my handheld.
Well, I should mention that that whole opening tutorial thing, I don't know what was wrong, but I was ready to give up on this game because I was getting so frustrated. It's such a simple thing, but you have to sneak behind these guards, and I kept getting killed. I kept getting spotted. And then in the end, you just had to basically run like an extra step and trigger a cinematic and you're done. But somehow I just thought, I have to really take my time and sneak through all this stuff. And it seemed so difficult. And I don't know why, because after that I didn't have those
The second
issues.
time I played through it, there's definitely an optimal path, which is not as obvious to me as it should be in that area.
yeah, I guess I was just surprised for sort of the first scene, the thing that's supposed to be teaching you the ropes, that it seems so unforgiving. But, maybe I just suck. It's definitely a possibility. But, yeah, I really liked it. And I guess there's a ton of other, multiplayer stuff, and I actually am really interested in playing that. Like, I've always wanted to try, ever since they introduced that whole mercs versus spies thing back.
You love espionage stuff.
I do. But I don't even remember, like, it was the third or fourth Splinter Cell game when they added that mode.
Second, I think.
Okay, and I always thought it sounded like a really cool idea, but I had never had a chance to play it, so I'm hoping at some point I will actually check that out.
Cool.
One of these days.
One of these days.
So I'm going to go on a little run of 3 right now. 3 semi-small ones. Mm-hmm. So my wife went out of town for the weekend. So I went to my old local library. I picked up a trifecta of games. The Puppeteer, which is actually pretty new.
I have that on my list.
Yeah? Well, why don't we just dive into that quickly then? Okay. I haven't played very much. I only played probably about 2 hours. But overall, love the art style, love the aesthetic of the storytelling. I can't believe how good this game looks. I almost feel like I'm watching a live play with amazing costumes. With the
That's not good.
With the exception of the main character, obviously. But the only thing is, I don't know how deep it gets, but the gameplay itself is really lacking for me.
I like the gameplay.
It reminds me of Little Big Planet.
For sure. My biggest complaint by far, I like you said, the art style, the feeling of the game. It's fresh, unique.
Yeah, big time.
I love platformers.
Yep.
My only complaint, really, is the right stick to use to explore stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be...
It accelerates real quick?
Well, yeah, I don't like the control. I don't like the area of... If I press the button around something,
yeah,
I feel like I'm close enough to something that I should be exploring it, and you have to get right in certain areas. I just find that way too finicky, and I'm kind of a compulsive explorer and collector.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
And that's the one thing that should have just been more forgiving to the user.
The other thing I don't like is, I know I knew nothing about this game coming in, so I'm just going to do a quick little synopsis of it. But to play, you essentially like collect heads, and the heads are your life, and each head has a little different mechanic built in. And so you find them, and then the heads drop, and you grab them, and you have 3 essentially like slots for these. And there are special scenarios where you can use a particular head to do something to unlock whatever, more coins or whatever, the stars or whatever they are. And my biggest pet peeve is that when a head drops, if you're already filled up these 3 slots, it automatically replaces with no option what you already have in there. And it's not like in a Mario game where the old one will pop out and you have the option to switch back. It's just gone.
You lose it, yeah.
So there's been cases where I have one I know I need, I've got it ready to go, and then I accidentally get another head, and all of a sudden I've lost the one I need, and I miss the secret.
Have you played a lot, like when you're saying the mechanics, how deep they get?
Oh, I'm not very far. I'm on like Act 1, Chapter 2.
Oh, so have you got
right at the beginning
to like the cutting mechanic and stuff?
Yeah, the cutting.
Like that's awesome. I think
the cutting's fun. Yeah, you use you get a pair of scissors and you use it to kind of propel yourself as long as you're cutting things.
Dwight guy would just eat this game up. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know though. Coming from this guy who absolutely hated Kirby for the Wii.
Good call.
I don't know if I can buy this.
Don't then. You don't have to buy it. Rent it from the local library.
I don't know if I can buy your praise.
Watch a couple of videos then.
So this isn't like a PlayStation Move Connect.
You can.
And it seems like it was originally conceived at that. Like the right stick controls this pointer essentially.
Okay.
In the background, and you can play with a second player controlling that and searching for stuff while the other
almost like the Mario Galaxy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest problem with it.
So how far are you into this game?
About the exact.
Oh, okay. I'm interested. I probably won't play much more, but I'm wondering where they're going to go with the mechanics, because it looks like there's 3 acts with like 3 chapters in each or something like that, maybe more, maybe 5 acts. But right now it's pretty simple. You have these scissors, you cut with the scissors, and then like I just got to the point where you're cutting rope to move yourself along faster. I did like the mechanic of, they have these enemies that are almost like a carpet, and you use the scissors to cut apart the carpet to defeat the enemy, which I thought was pretty cool. And it looks great as this enemy's kind of swooping around. Essentially, it's kind of like, I would say kind of like Shadow Complex. It's kind of like a 2.5D game.
But what
everything's in a 2D plane, but everything's 3D.
But what I love are the transitions. A lot of the times you're not progressing left to right. You're progressing into the screen.
Or up, down.
And it's like a new set popping up on a stage.
Yeah. It's all as if you're watching a like live action play.
So is this a PSN game or retail?
It's retail.
Beyond Two Souls, you can pick that up 40% off at Toys R Us, pal.
Consider it.
It's interesting. Anyways, I don't think many people will play this or even check it out, so I thought I'd talk about it. The other game I borrowed from the library was Halo 4. And I was actually really disappointed in this. I don't know if... Okay, I think I just...
Is it the AI, Andrew?
No. I think it's... I don't know. I was not in the right mindset to play Halo, because I found that I just felt so overwhelmed with the amount of enemies and the lack of ammo in like the first few areas. I just got completely turned off. I found myself wanting to run through sections, and there's all these gated defeat these 25 people areas that I just could not get through. And I just found it was taking too long to progress through certain areas of the game. I think I just wasn't in the right mindset. I thought,
Clearly.
I thought it looked great. I thought the backgrounds, the cinematics were all incredible.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it really does.
So fucking good.
Yeah. It's a Halo game. It plays great. All the mechanics are awesome. It just the low. I know this is from 343 Studios. I don't know if that has something to do with it. I felt like the AI was still the same. I didn't really think the AI was different in any negative way or positive way. I just felt there was too many people and too little ammo. And I don't know if I just wasn't exploring enough and switching weapons enough.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But yeah, that's it. And then the other game I borrowed from the old library was Star Trek from
Digital Extreme.
From Digital Streams just up the road.
I'm kind of interested in this, even though it's gotten terrible reviews.
It really has gotten terrible reviews, and there are issues for sure. But as far as capturing the Star Trek, or at least the new Star Trek brand, I think it does a great job. I found myself like laughing at a lot of the points in the game that were meant to be funny. I found them funny. I didn't find them corny or stupid. I actually found that they did a really good job there. You have Kirk and Spock on the screen all at the same time. There are definitely AI issues with him getting in the way and running into them, kind of like we were talking about what happened in The Last of Us. The audio is great. I found they use basically the same sound design as the movies. I found pretty close. The revive mechanic in this game, though, is really, really bad. So there's an enemy. The first real tough enemy you get is in kind of like a close combat situation. And this game is not good at close combat fighting. You have to use this like really stiff dodge jump that's so slow. And you can barely get out of the way. The camera becomes an issue. You can't see where you're going. And then all of a sudden your partner dies, so you go to revive him. And you know how in like games like Gears of War, you run over, you press A or you hold A for a bit and they're up. And it's no big deal, you're back going. The problem is that the animations are so stiff that by the time they like get up, they get hit and die again. The other thing that complicates that is not only do you have to hold A, but then after you hold A, there's this mini game of trying to
Like the active reload kind of thing or something?
It's almost like you're using
Mouth to mouth?
Yeah, like mouth to mouth, essentially. You're trying to see how
you have to blow in the microphone?
Yeah. But it's almost like you're using like shock pads or something. And depending on how good you are at using the shock pads, it determines how much health they get back. So holding A combined with this mini game all in real time, combined with a super aggressive enemy that's coming to get you, you just have no chance to do anything in this battle. So it's just it was really poorly designed. There's this weird upgrade system where you can slot in items and then install it, but only install it in certain. So you'll have like, I don't know, let's say like level 1. You can only install one level 1 thing. So I didn't understand how it worked. It wasn't really explained. So I ended up buying like all the stuff, and then I ended up not being able to use like half of it because it was just not lined up properly. But I don't know how far I got. I was a little concerned at the length because I was following through a walkthrough and just to kind of track my progress. And by about the halfway point of the walkthrough, I'd only played for about 2.5 hours. So I was like, oh boy, like no wonder this game's getting just slammed. But then I found the next like chapter or two took super long. So I don't know how long the game is, but I think I played for about 6 hours, got maybe 2/3 of the way through the game. I don't know if I'd
my kind of game.
I don't know. No, it wouldn't be. You'd be so frustrated. So overall, I thought it was better than the reviews are giving it, though I did not force my way through the whole thing and probably won't go back to it. I was enjoying the story and the humor, but the story was kind of starting to go off the rails, so I'm sure that would lead to some lower marks.
Pretty sure J.J. Abrams disavowed this film.
Yes, I think he did.
That was kind of a shifty move, too.
I think so.
Yeah. So,
I didn't like that one bit.
So that's it.
He did say, like in an interview, right? They asked him about it or something.
Yeah, I think that was pretty recent, actually.
I
too.
left that pretty early.
Yeah, sure you did.
So that's it. I'll pass the torch.
I'll just do a package deal as well. FIFA 14, Madden 25.
I can jump in on some sports titles.
Okay. So I wasn't going to buy FIFA 14 or Madden 25 initially, but
You had no choice.
no, I see this upgrade program. I can turn those in for PS4 versions for $10. How could I not? It's like renting it for 3 months for $10 because I'm going to buy the new versions. So picked them up. I would say not a huge upgrade above previous versions for either one. And if you look at the gaps between previous versions, I'd say it's the smallest it's ever been, and I kind of get that.
I played the Madden 25 demo and wasn't really that blown away, and I hadn't played a Madden game in probably 2 or 3 years, and I didn't even notice that great of an improvement from those.
My biggest problems with these games have always been the same. FIFA 14 actually I think plays amazing. We play a lot.
I was thinking about picking that up.
A lot of multiplayer FIFA. My only complaint would be a lack of refined control with shooting, and I think they just kind of have to do that for. I know you talked about the Vita version and haven't. But to me, it's more about it would be too easy to score with the nature of soccer if they didn't control direction a bit with that stuff. And Madden, my biggest problem has always been with Madden, slanted too much towards offense. Receivers catch everything even when they're getting hit.
That's so frustrating.
And that's why I love the 2K football series and still miss them to this day. That's it for me.
Did you have anything to add to that?
I'll just jump in. I have 3 other sports titles. I borrowed from the library NBA 2K13, last year's version, and I actually liked it quite a bit. I hadn't played a 2K basketball game probably since College Hoops 2K9.
You love that.
Which I still will play this year when March rolls around. And I liked it. I started the Live Your Life mode.
I hate that.
And I suck. I am so bad. I played probably half a season and was barely getting good grades.
Well, my biggest problem with that mode is when I have to do press conferences.
Oh, they're so slow.
And they're like, I remember people in the reviews saying, it's so cool. You get to
The guy's
comment
a dick every time.
Like, I don't think I'm happy with the way, like you get 3 options and these guys are so generic and just, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I do not need this. They look like shit.
Yeah, it really
They look
does
fucking
look
terrible.
bad.
It's no Coach LeBou.
Now we're talking. And I would take the personality and joy of seeing the same Coach LeBou clips over and over again than dynamic choices that are so boring.
Yeah.
With these canned responses. Ugh.
And the responses are not even delivered well.
No,
they're just
terrible.
so bland.
So, yeah, I just want to play basketball.
Yeah.
Fuck this other shit.
I thought the game was pretty good. I had some problems like running plays, not really being able to get what I want to happen, but I'm also not like very
I still think that
up
game,
on basketball plays, so
they're so in depth, they need way better tutorial modes.
yeah.
That's where the NBA 2K series loses me. I wish there was a really in-depth way to learn how to play the right
Yeah,
way.
I went to my normal thing, pick and roll, and maybe isolation, and just
Because there's all these new shooting stick stuff. Like if you lean one way, it does fadeaways.
yeah, and all. I think the only tutorial I saw that was like one loading screen
nothing.
at
It's
the beginning, and it was just pull this away to do a fadeaway, and I'm like,
You know what? Here's an idea. Stop taking time to get Jay-Z to skin your game and do these fucking stupid menus and give me a tutorial so I can play the fucking thing. I'm starting to sound like Francis. I'm turning to Francis over here. Sorry, Kieran.
I think
Wee-oo.
I think the Francis transformation has been happening over the years and will be complete shortly.
I'm waiting for your own video series.
Let's turn into Francis and Zares with those chicken fingers.
I borrowed NCAA Football 14. This was before Madden came out. I thought it was pretty fun. Again, no real big jump. And then here's the big one, NHL 14. I was not going to buy it this year because I was so disappointed with NHL 13.
Let me guess. NHL 94 mode.
I actually haven't even played it.
What?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It's the first thing I would have done.
I hear it's
I have
not
played
very
it one
good,
time.
but-
It's just the game with blue ice and diamond or stars around your players instead of and shitty controls because it's all circle
it's
the slap shot.
controls, but just
It's the new physics and stuff with the old controls.
okay.
So
Yeah, that
the game
sucks.
plays well, but the controls are so bad that you have trouble doing things, and they sped it up so it's more like arcadey. But the overall, all my issues that I had with NHL 13, they've resolved with NHL 14, and this NHL 14 is by far the best NHL game I've ever
Really?
played.
Can You're going to sell me on one point. You know what I'm going to ask you?
Yeah, it's charge passing.
Still there?
It is, but it's different now. So now a quick tap is like a normal pass, and if you hard pass to do long distance, it's faster, but it's almost more like a shot, less accurate, and your guy has less chance to handle it.
So there's quick tap passing now.
Yeah, so now a quick tap is not like this little feather shit that goes nowhere. It's actually like a real pass.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then a hard pass is less accurate and for far distances.
I'll buy it tomorrow.
And so like
I'm not kidding.
A lot of the other issues I had with the AI and all that, the goalies, all been resolved. There was a lot of issues in 13 where you would hit a guy and then you'd get stuck in these stupid animations, and the guy you just hit to the ground would be able to get up and get the puck before you would get out of your animation to get the puck. So that's all been resolved.
Learn how to hit.
Just a lot of things. They took the physics engine from FIFA, so all the hits look incredible now. I actually have on my fourth line enforcers because the fighting can swing the game, and the big hits from these
Don't like that.
well, not like in a bad way, but the fighting's actually a lot of fun.
I just hate when they fuck with the idea of momentum. And
Yeah, it is. It's pretty powerful.
That's
but
my biggest complaint with the whole series is it feels like the person who's
Yeah.
going to win is decided at the beginning.
So what I recommend to anyone who's playing this game is play it on hardcore simulation mode, which is basically like all the rules, all the nuances, and then on superstar difficulty. So basically the top end of everything. And the game is like, I actually have trouble winning games sometimes, which normally I don't. And it's not because of cheap frustration. It's because the game is actually playing correctly. So this is off the charts recommended because I was so hesitant to buy it. Then I ended up buying it on like the second day it was out because all my buddies are playing it. I see like 6 or 7 people in NHL 14. I'm just like, God damn it. All right, I got to go out and get this stupid game. But yeah, incredible game. I never thought I didn't even think I'd be playing it, and I'm just playing it a ton. It's so good. So yeah,
nice.
Pick it up, Frank. We'll play.
Okay.
I'll get you in my GM connected
We
mode.
do need to play.
We do.
One time.
Especially since I whooped you at Wayne Gretzky. Sean hit it.
Sean,
All right, I'm going to throw out a little DuckTales Remastered.
Uh-oh.
Have yet to play it.
Frank hasn't played it. I was pretty excited about this, and ultimately, although I have not played a ton of it, as with most of the games I will be talking about, disappointed. I think, the idea of these HD remakes of classic games, they always get you. You always think, I'd love to revisit this game, but it's not the game you remember. And it's not even, like, I think I have played DuckTales with an emulator not that long ago, and it's still fun. I think it holds up. But once you get this sort of remake with the art and all this stuff, you don't have the same fuzzy nostalgia there. Like, the actual gameplay, for the most part, still works. But the biggest problem, by far, and I know a lot of people have mentioned this, is the cutscenes are so long, you can't skip them, and it's all just because they got the original voice actors.
So you're saying it's like Kirby's Epic Yarn?
Well, I guess I would compare it to Nintendo games.
Paper Mario.
But this is the thing, like, you actually have to sit there and listen to this dialogue, and the voices don't even sound, it's been a long time since these people have done these characters. They almost sound unrecognizable, or at least very off at times, and it's just not, it's not worth it.
Would
at
you
all.
even recognize them? I mean, when was the last time you watched a DuckTales show? Probably 10, 15 years ago.
It's still up here, man.
It's just
still
like
up
New
here.
Muppets. Right?
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I think, ultimately, without the cutscene stuff, it probably still would have been pretty playable and fun, but it just bogs it down, because the cutscenes are trying to add like some hint of a story that you just don't care, and like just these launchpad wisecracks and stuff that are just
It'd
not
be like
funny.
if Mega Man tried to tell an in-depth story about whatever they're trying to talk about, instead of just
I guess
put the levels up.
pretty much.
New Darkwing Duck cameo?
I might be interested in that.
Well, Launchpad crossed universes, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
Thought maybe in one of the cutscenes, maybe a little Darkwing?
Not that I saw.
No? Or
But-
Megavolt?
No.
Fucking love Darkwing Duck.
But I will echo Frank's comments in that Rescue Rangers needs to be remade in some form.
I've got a trio of Disney titles coming up. I was going to suggest top 5 Disney-related gaming.
You know what?
Of course
This
you
is
were.
this
I
is
didn't want to get
hilarious
too...
because I had this like brilliant idea of remaking Aladdin, the Genesis game.
No need. It's perfect.
But it is perfect. I'll give you that.
I think if you made it
But
HD, that's all you'd have to do.
No. But I mean, can you imagine doing like that temple, the first temple craziness in more like 3D Oculus Rift? I was thinking Oculus Rift. Sorry, I left that out.
Oculus Rift?
Yeah.
Whoa, this is...
Are you talking Super Nintendo or Genesis?
Genesis, but not the actual game. I'm talking like a remake.
Like a 3D perspective,
Yeah.
Aladdin?
I'm talking in 3D.
You don't fuck with 2D Aladdin. I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Total cartoony. No.
I'm out. I'm out.
Fine. I'll take it. I'll take my money, and I'll run.
Yeah, right.
I just need to talk to Disney first.
Did you pick up or did you download Castle of Illusions? Is that what it's called?
No, I didn't. I should, though.
But I'm kind of feeling like it's the same.
No, that one's getting better reviews.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'll check it out.
Okay.
I'll fucking check it out. Whose turn is it?
It's Huck City's turn.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I just got a few. I'll just go through some quick ones. I finished The Last of Us. I played some of Ni no Kuni. I know some people were asking about that. Love the art style. Thought the battle system's okay. Not in love with it, though I haven't really... I think I've played 6 or 7 hours of it, so I think I barely scratched the surface. I like the exploring part. There's sort of like boards and bounties that keep you interested in doing stuff. The animation's incredible. And... yeah, that's about all I have to comment on there for that. I played a little bit of Saints Row 3 because it was free. Finished off Tomb Raider. Actually popped in Mark of the Ninja. Finished that off. That game I enjoyed, but at the same time, I feel like it's overrated. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on why. I don't know. I just... something about it. I played a little bit Hitman Absolution.
Are you going to say indie games get too much credit for being indie games?
Maybe, yeah. I guess I could.
It's a potential trend. Could be a hot button topic next issue. Next
be.
Episode.
It's trendy to be indie, apparently.
Oh, it sure is.
So I played Hitman Absolution a little bit of. I've been actually playing my Vita quite a bit. I played a bunch of Wipeout 2048. That game looks incredible.
Awesome game.
Plays
Terrible
incredible.
load times.
Yeah, the load times are pretty bad. And then an indie game, Dragon Fantasy Book 2. I met this guy at GDC.
Fantasy Book
It's an
2.
RPG on the Vita. It's cross-buy. And I met this guy when I was at GDC, so I bought the game. It came out actually part of the spring sale or whatever for PSN.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh,
How is it?
It's okay.
It's garbage.
It's getting like really.
I knew it.
It's getting really mixed reviews. I actually have run into a lot of crash bugs with it. There's like this recruiting mechanic that is kind of weird. You can capture enemies, like every enemy in the game. Apparently, you can capture and bring them into your party. Though there's no easy way to swap them out. So kind of once you fill up your spots, you're kind of stuck with your party until you go to a town. I think I'm about 3 hours in. I have no idea how long the game is. And I'm finding the menus. So the original game was on iPhone, and the menus were made for like the iPhone. They worked. They weren't great, but they kept the same menu system basically, and it just really is not. It's too cumbersome for a PlayStation game, in my opinion. And
What about on the Vita, though?
same deal. Any non-touchpad, any non-touch screen.
The Vita, you got a touchscreen though.
Yeah, but it's more like the text, the amount of text they're trying to display just takes so long. So something like healing in Final Fantasy would be like, tap this person, their healed is done. In this game, it's like tap, confirm, wait for the heal text to go across, then watch the heal text go, then back out of all those menus, and then you need to go through the whole process to heal the next guy. So you can't just like quickly heal your whole party or whatever. And I find it's really confusing. I'm getting lost quite a bit. And the dungeons are pretty long and sprawling, so I'm just having trouble kind of keeping track of everything.
Pen and paper. Get it out.
Yeah, I might need to. Then I fired up an old Super Nintendo emulator, played some Lufia 2. That game has such typical... So I love all the mechanics in this game, but the story is so off the rails at the beginning. It's one of those typical... Don't really do anything for the first like 20 hours. Just kind of walk in whatever direction they send you with no real purpose. It's really, I forgot how just do whatever we tell you it was with no real purpose. And then the last game I've been playing, which I've really, really been addicted to the last month or so.
Candy Crush?
No, XCOM Enemy Unknown.
It's an addictive game.
Holy, this game... So I played it once through, didn't get anywhere close to beating it, and got to the point where I was getting my ass kicked, so I stopped. Yeah. That was probably about 6 months ago. And then I actually, when it came free on PlayStation Plus, I traded in my copy and just recently went back to it. And since then I've played one game of Iron Man on normal and died right around like I didn't realize, but at the end when you die, it actually gives you the average, and I'm basically right on average with the world. So I thought that was pretty good. But it got to the point where there was just such a difficulty spike. There's no way I was keeping up. And so now I'm starting a second Iron Man playthrough on easy. And this game reminds me of a board game in the sense that the more you play it, the more you understand the mechanics, the more you can master the mechanics, and the better you'll get. And I love it. I bet I'm going to play this game a few more times through. I love it. This could be probably one of my up there game of the year candidates. I think it came out
last year.
Last year? Oh,
Missed the boat, pal.
Last year.
Wasn't there a new XCOM game that just came out this year?
It's a shooter.
Oh, okay.
No, but they're also doing... So this is Enemy Unknown. They're coming out with a DLC pack, Enemy Within. And apparently it's the same game, like XCOM Enemy Unknown, but they change around a bunch of the mechanics and add different things to it. I can't remember all the details, but essentially it's the same mission, same everything, but the game is different. The rules are different.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
I'm going to do what Jay Cheel started on Film Junk. I'm going to do a chain reaction.
Okay.
Starting the chain reaction, Disney Infinity.
Mm-hmm. You love this game.
A physical DLC game devoted to the wonderful, wonderful world of Disney. And I haven't played it that much. I wanted to give it a whirl. I like the action figures. They're kind of cute. And I like the art style unifying the Disney universe. It kind of plays to me a bit like Lego Star Wars game, Lego games with Disney stuff. And
is this the one where you buy like worlds, like Pirates of the Caribbean,
yeah,
and then something else?
I had to get it though so I could play the Lone Ranger playset,
of course,
which I've played the most of. It's pretty good.
I heard the Pirates game is really fun though.
So it's all right. I haven't gotten to very far, but it really just feels like a Lego Star Wars game, or a Lego game,
right?
But it's good, not amazing. So bridging the gap, I bought Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD remix and played it for about 4 hours. It looks amazing. The art style holds up amazingly in HD. I would just say the mechanics can be really frustrating.
I'm just going to say that I played this Kingdom Hearts 1 when it first came out on PlayStation 2, and I really didn't like it.
Yeah, it's really just getting by on Disney for me.
Oh.
If there was no Disney,
you're just there to see the Disney characters.
I like the universe. It actually is pretty cool, but an interesting idea. Just really wanted to try beating it again. I don't think that's going to happen. And to bridge the gap from Disney to Final Fantasy / Disney to Final Fantasy, I bought A Realm Reborn.
Get out.
Final Fantasy 14.
Oh boy. MMO.
Because Dax, who wanted to be on the show, loves this game.
Really?
And another friend of mine loves it.
Abandoned WoW?
Yeah. Abandoned Guild Wars 2. He'd moved on to Guild Wars 2 and now on to this, and he loves it, plays it like crazy. And I watched him play it for a while, and it looks amazing. So I picked it up. I haven't opened it yet. So hey, Dax said he still wants to be on the next show, so I'll try to crack it open before that.
Okay. Sounds good.
I have way more, but you can
just finish it off. I'm gonna burn through my last few, so go ahead.
Okay. Star Wars Pinball.
Yep.
Zen Pinball.
Played a tiny bit of it.
I fucking love it.
I love all the Zen Pinball games.
It's so good.
I've been playing a little of that too.
I cannot get past the Empire Strikes Back table. I play it over and over again. I've gotten to the point where I know everything about the table. And that's what I love about the pinball games, discovering a board, learning everything to do with it, and the tasks which at first seemed impossible.
So daunting at first.
Yeah, get more and more doable, and your skill actually increases. And I love these games.
While you're talking
love them.
Star Wars, I'll just jump in. 2 Star Wars announcements. Did you see that the Tiny Tower guys are doing a tiny Death Star?
Yeah.
And then the other one, did you see that what's the MMO called? Old Republic is getting an expansion pack called Galactic Starfighter or something,
No.
and it's like TIE Fighter
No,
in the MMO world.
no. I thought you were going to say the new Star Wars Pinball arcade boards are coming out.
Oh, that's probably true too. But anyways, side note, I thought the new Old Republic DLC might lure me
Interesting.
back in there.
Interesting.
Cool.
Also, anyway, love that. Love Zen Pinball. Love it. Rayman Legends. Picked it up.
Oh, yeah.
Have barely played it.
I played quite a bit,
Yeah?
actually, yeah.
I actually been playing Origins because it went free on Vita.
Yeah, and that's one of the best things about Legends. You get every Origins board again in it.
Yeah. I mean, my only real complaint is that it kind of feels like Origins
Exactly.
again. Like, it's not a huge difference, but
It looks way better.
it looks amazing. The one thing that I was really surprised about, and I don't... So you played it on PS3? So I picked up the Vita version, and I know initially there was concern that it was missing some of the content, but they said they're going to add it with DLC anyway. But there's touchscreen stuff, because this was originally designed for
Yeah.
the Wii U.
I played the demos on Wii U with some of the touchscreen stuff and gyroscopic.
Right, and so I kind of had forgot about that, but all that touchscreen stuff is also there on the Vita, and I actually think it works really well. Like, most of the time, when you have a platformer and they add some weird peripheral thing to it, it's usually garbage. It's usually just thrown in there to sell a system or whatever. But I actually was really enjoying all the touchscreen levels. I thought they were quite well done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Just need some time, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Diablo 3 for PS3 I picked up, just mostly out of curiosity.
Do you like it?
I fucking love it.
I've downloaded the demo and I couldn't get into it.
We played 4-player local co-op
Oh, okay, that would be fun.
with some guys who've never even played a game before.
Awesome.
And the menus are really intuitive.
Yeah?
These guys have never even played an RPG before, and they figured out what was going on. And it's actually kind of a nice break when people get their new stuff, and it's really quick.
Did you play it on PC?
A bit, yeah.
Do you find that the graphics are worse?
A little, yeah, of course.
Because I was actually quite surprised at...
I think it looks good.
I thought like the characters in general, the backgrounds were fine, but I thought the characters looked really rough. But I don't know.
I had a lot of fun with it.
I was actually tempted when I saw it came out for consoles. I was kind of like, I actually wouldn't mind revisiting that game. But
It works really well in that everyone has to be on screen at the same time, so you don't get split screen issues. It's just a really fun multiplayer experience.
yeah, that sounds fun.
We should do it sometime, just hang out.
Definitely. I'm in.
And then finally, my final trio, where my heart has been lately. Back with the big N, Nintendo. 3 huge releases, as far as I'm concerned. Number 1, Pikmin 3.
Yep.
Still kind of suck at Pikmin. I'm still relearning how to play. But the art style just slays me. Love it. The photorealistic stuff contrasted with these weird creatures. Who cares about processing power when you have visuals this cool and inventive?
Yep.
And Nintendo in HD. You can't beat it. You cannot beat Nintendo HD. It looks so good. So, played a bunch more of that last night. Really want to play some more. Love it.
Okay.
Wonderful 101.
Yes. This was kind
I
of
think
supposed to
you
be...
would love it.
Yeah?
I love it.
It was kind of supposed to be a system seller, I think, for the Wii U. I don't know if it's quite...
Made by Platinum Games. I love the personality, art style. It's a totally different kind of game.
Isn't it kind of like Pikmin, too?
A bit, yeah, kind of an action version of Pikmin, which is fun. A lot of stuff going on screen. Learning curve's pretty steep. I'm still pretty shit at it.
But, so you control superheroes, right?
Like a horde of superheroes, kind of.
Right. So, like, is it like an RTS then? Or
No, it's an action game. Like, you're doing combos with that.
Okay.
Making formations with multiple people, using it to extend gaps, all this cool stuff. And it's just very charming. I hate that word, but I'll use it in this case.
Okay.
A charming, fun game, which I'm loving. And kind of humorous. I find Nintendo games are the funniest.
Yeah.
Just subtly funny. They're not all about being funny all the time. And they'll have this kind of quirky dialogue that I really appreciate. And finally, Wind Waker HD, which I picked up this weekend, is amazing. Out of all these games I've played, if I went home tonight and truly played the game I want to play the most, it would be Wind Waker HD.
Wow.
That's how good this game is.
I can believe it. It was amazing when it came out.
It looks so fucking good. And in HD, it sings, baby. The dragons, the boats. For me, like, every time I see a smoke effect when the enemies die, or I just cream in my pants. It is the coolest art style. I love it. I love it.
Where does this game rank in terms of Nintendo game or Zelda games for you?
See, I'm at the beginning of the game, which is the fun part.
Right.
What I remember is being very frustrated, and all the reviews say this. At the end of the game, the Triforce quest.
Sailing.
Yeah. And that's still
apparently
a bit of an
they've cut
issue.
that down.
And not that much. I know you get a sail later that doubles your speed or whatever. Looking forward to that. But right now, I'm just taking it in. I love the open seas. I'm seeing these beautiful ripples on the waves.
Nice.
Just getting lost in the majesty.
I remember I loved that game, but couldn't beat the sailing part and was just too frustrated by it and stopped at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. Its charm is working on me right now, I'll tell you that. It's giving me the once over, and I'm letting it. Just a fantastic game. And should drive you to buy a Wii U, Sean.
Probably not gonna, but
there's a 2D Metroid minigame in it on the loading screen.
I'm in. Okay, so
if you believe that, you'll believe anything.
Just a few things I'll mention real quick. You brought up funny Nintendo games, and actually one that I think is kind of humorous is Mario and Luigi Dream Team for the 3DS. I'm actually a big fan of all the Mario and Luigi games, although I've never actually finished any of them. I've actually put a fair amount of time into some of them. And this one, I would say maybe not quite as good as some of the other ones, but I really like the idea of, going into a dream world, that whole thing. I mean, it's kind of like Psychonauts, I guess, in a way. But I don't know. Yeah, I've nothing groundbreaking about it. It's just if you like the previous installments, it's good. Funny games. Funnier than that, FarCry 3 Blood Dragon. I did finally download this, checked it out a bit.
Definitely up your alley.
Yeah, no kidding.
Had a lot of fun with it. The tutorial stuff where he's just getting so annoyed about all the tutorial shit you have to do. Amazing. But, I mean, yeah, gameplay-wise, I could see it maybe getting a little old after a while. But, for the hour and a half maybe that I played it, I was really enjoying it. And the last game that I'm going to mention, which I've actually played quite a bit of...
Is it your mindfuck of the month?
No, I don't have one this month.
What? He's slacking.
That's
here.
how...
It's 2 in a year.
That's how little gaming I've been doing lately. But a game called Steamworld Dig, which is a terrible name, sounds so generic and boring. I don't know if you guys heard of this.
How do you find these games?
It's a 3DS eShop title, downloadable game. And of course, I don't know how I found it. I stumbled across a review, and of course, somewhere in that review was the word Metroid. So I was like, okay, I'm interested. I'll read more. And basically what it is it's kind of, I mean, I guess I've heard people compare it to like Metroid meets Minecraft, but that's not really true. It's more Dig Dug with a bit of Metroid progression in it.
Well, Dig Dug would tickle your fancy too, the old Commodore.
Yeah, but so like it's essentially it's a mining game. You're digging through dirt, and you're getting more power ups to dig faster. And there's enemies that obviously you encounter. So there's a lot of exploration involved, but there's also sort of strategy in how you dig down in tunnels and stuff, because things can fall on you. You can kind of get yourself caught in corners where you can't get out.
Sounds exactly like Dig Dug.
Yeah, so I mean, it's got this Western story to it and sort of theme, which is okay. All that stuff just seems a little generic, but the gameplay is just really, really fine-tuned and well done and addictive.
Yeah, for a while there, you're playing it so gray. I had no idea if you were going to say you loved or hated this game.
Well, I'm loving it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Fuck yeah, it does. I'm happy for you. I wish I could love games.
It has been a while since
You just said you love Wind Waker.
But not loved it with all my heart.
I see.
Where I shut everything else out. That hasn't happened in a long time.
Okay, so
Tier.
I'm sorry to hear that, Frank. We're going to move on to some junk mail now. And filmjunk@gmail.com. Probably should make a game junk address one of these days, but
We might be official now. We have 17 shows.
yeah. So let's try and blow through these. We got one from Brad in Australia. He says, "Hey, game men, 2 quick questions that Frank brought up in an older podcast. He gave Ninja Turtles a pass because he loves the franchise so much. What other games do you give a pass for because of your love for the franchise? One for me would be Lost World Jurassic Park on PS2 and the latest Jurassic Park game on the PC. Also, what new game releases will you purchase just because you've loved the previous game in the series? After playing Battlefield 1942, I loved it so much that I bought every release afterwards, except Battlefield 2142. Well, then I guess you didn't buy every release, did you? Thanks again. If you answered any of these in previous shows, let me know. Brad from Australia.
I think I can answer both questions with the same answer.
Okay.
Anything by Nintendo. I bump it up just because of the Nintendo charm, the nature of them, and I almost give everything they do, aside from Wii Fit and other really obvious stuff, a chance.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good response for myself as well. I will, even though I complain about Zeldas, if there's a new Zelda, I'm pretty pumped for the 3DS one that's coming out. I will probably pick it up anyway.
I can add another weirder one. I think I've bought every Sonic game ever, just from my love of Sonic when I was a kid, and I'll buy the new one.
Kind of dressed like Sonic right now.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the new one on a look called Lost Worlds, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, and he's saying Lost World Jurassic Park, you know what I'm saying? That looks really good. I really want to play that.
Okay.
Nice. For me, I find it's not necessarily a franchise related to games anyways. I find it's companies. So like for me, anything Naughty Dog, gonna pick up. Anything BioWare, I'll usually pick up. Less so now since the EA thing, but before they were...
Continue.
I don't know.
What about,
Metroid's up there for me.
What about Bethesda? Where do you stand on them now?
Yeah.
I thought it was one of his inspirations last time I checked.
I wouldn't like go out and rush to get anything Bethesda. I'll probably wait a year, give them time to patch it all up, and then I'll think about picking it up.
Okay. What about the NHL series?
Well, yeah, definitely NHL.
Got it.
I wouldn't really consider that. That's just a given. Come on. Although I do like, I've been dying for some sort of new flight sim game, like an Ace Combat game, but
There's a new free one that's supposed to be good on PC.
yeah,
So it's not really a flight sim, but
like a free to play
dogfighting game.
Yeah.
That a buddy of ours.
Yeah,
was
sorry,
playing
that's what I meant.
And really
like a
liking.
dogfight. Yeah.
Okay. So, next question. This one's from Blake in Boston. Hello, fully stacked, easy win, and angry commuter. I don't know where fully stacked came from, but I'm assuming you guys are talking about Grand Theft Auto. I wanted to bring up one aspect of the game that I've taken the most from. In developing the 3-character story arc and gameplay, Rockstar allowed me to finally do what I wanted in a Grand Theft Auto game, role play. In previous games, I always saw a narrative divide between running amok and the characters that they were trying to portray. Now I can actually play out 3 separate styles of play per character. So Michael manages my family relations, plays golf, invests in the stock market. Franklin customizes cars, races, goes to strip clubs, blah, blah, blah. Trevor runs amok, causing chaos and disorder across Los Santos with a wide arsenal of weapons. So my 3-part question is, do you guys find yourself role-playing in this game? Do you think Rockstar can ever roll back to a one-character story again? And what other genres or games would you like to see this be implemented with? Fondest regards, Blake.
Well, clearly we haven't unlocked all 3 characters.
Yeah.
I do like that. My first reaction would be the way he assigns his roles is very racist. So, might have to take a long, hard look in the mirror there, Blakey.
For the second part of them going back to 1, I think they will. I think with the next Red Dead, they'll just keep 1.
I don't think so.
You think they'll go multiple?
I think it's going to be a posse.
Uh-oh. Well, I guess we'll find out. Time will tell.
Could be interesting.
I like it. I like the idea. I struggle to find multiple character versions of other games I like.
Heavy Rain?
No. Isn't he saying a game that would do the same thing?
Oh, like you want to add that too?
I really couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah, and as far as role-playing goes, I don't think I will necessarily be dividing up my characters that way, but maybe I'll be inspired once I see the personalities of these guys come out.
I think in my game, Franklin will be will love stocks and golfing and just be breaking down racial barriers.
He'll be the Wall Street guy. God, why can't I not think of his name? Michael Douglas, yeah. Of GTA for you.
Okay. Philip has 3 questions, one for each of us. Frank, do you detest horror games the same way you do horror films? Sean, are you going to influence your kid to play the games you like or let them choose for themselves? Huck, what's the worst game you ever played? And just in general, will any of you be playing the new Pokemon game? Thanks, Philip.
What was my question?
Do you hate horror games?
I do not hate horror games.
You don't find them too jumpy?
Sometimes I do. But I can always turn them down a bit.
That's true.
Detach myself from the experience as much as possible and just play it.
Just focus on the collectibles.
Robotically, yeah.
Look for the collectibles.
Influence my kid to play the game.
You kind of do already.
I'm sure I will. I don't know.
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, does that mean, am I going to be letting him play Grand Theft Auto next year? Probably not, but...
Probably not.
I think it's more like force-feeding him NES versions of Spy vs. Spy and
Commodore
and Gogol 13 or whatever to start him off and maybe actually making him play Commodore 64 games.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would definitely be interested to see the reaction from any younger kid just on older games, but I mean, I'm not going to force.
I would suggest maybe next week, very soon, map out a chart of it. So as he grows, he catches up to the current generation.
Right.
So next week,
start with Pong.
Yeah, exactly. Like take him through the generations as he grows.
It's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
What about you?
Just think, he could be like the most well-versed gamer of all time. He could be the Tiger Woods, the prodigy of game development and knowledge.
That's true. I mean, by the time he's old enough, professional video game player will probably be the most
sought-after career.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Something to think about.
What are you going to do with Ethan?
I don't know. I don't think I'll force him to play old games. I think with like the rise of indies and seeing sort of old come back, I think there'll be enough variety in like 2D, 3D versus, puzzle platformer, blah, 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 that you won't really need to go back. I mean, I'll probably go back and show him my favorites or whatever, but I don't think I'll force feed him Pong or whatever.
But you'll just get him Children Illustrated AI instruction manuals.
Well, I'll just basically have one game. That game will be NHL, whatever the year is, and we'll just play together constantly. And I'll groom him to understand the game of hockey.
Ethan, this is Rage. Notice how the enemies are jumping on the ceiling? Very unpredictable.
This was made
but creative
by
behavior.
the smartest man on Earth. Well, that will happen for sure. I'll definitely be showing Rage. For the worst game I played, I don't know. I found mine is more frustration causes the game to be the worst. So for me, I always hated like the first third-person games that came out, like for PlayStation 1, somewhat N64 era. There was no right stick to control the camera.
Well, I've gone back and played Tomb Raider, which was the best of that generation.
That was, like, going to say, Tomb Raider I found super frustrating, and it was considered, like, the shit. So I wouldn't say that was the worst, but the one I came up with, which was on probably people's a lot of lists, was Superman on the N64, was just so bad. It really did nothing.
That's a classic.
Classically bad. Yeah, really just third-person games with no camera control, and especially the ones not like Dino Crisis and stuff like that, where it's fixed camera angles, not like Resident Evil even, but the ones where you're actually trying to manipulate in a 3D space without that right thumbstick control is just so cumbersome and difficult to do. I mean, the Zelda games got around it by using the center behind the guy, but if you go back and play that, I'm sure now it's pretty tough to do.
What about Pokemon? You guys picking it up?
Probably not.
It's been getting good reviews, but I don't have a 3DS, so I will not.
Buy a 2DS this Sunday.
No. Can I play it on my Jason's DS? Whatever it is. Jason? Whatever one he gave me. Jeff? There's some guy's name. Jacob. DS? Regular DS?
I don't think so.
Well, then, no, it's not going to happen. I've been playing that, by the way. It's pretty good still.
I will not be picking up Pokemon. I have never played a Pokemon game and do not intend to start.
I played Pokemon Yellow, the original, I think.
Okay. Casper says, hello, Canadians. One thing I always hear is that in the game industry, especially programmers, rarely stay for very long until they settle down in other fields instead. So that made me wonder where you guys see yourselves a few years from now. Do you plan to keep at it or move on to something else? Since Frank is already out of the game, is he planning on getting back in, or has he come to prefer a lifestyle without months of crunch time? Hugs and kisses from Denmark, Casper.
Well, right now I am out of the game industry, but I still work part-time doing some game stuff, so I get creative fulfillment through that. And it's a lot of fun working with Pixelnauts. And I do want to get back in eventually. It was a nice break, but I'm feeling the urge to get back in and be creative and have fun and work with people my own age that like the same things and are passionate about the same things. That's, to me, the biggest draw of the industry.
Yeah, I'm still in, so I still loving it. I can't picture myself not doing this. I love doing it as much as I can, so I'm working at a place right now that's really awesome as far as crunch goes, so I don't really have the like Rockstar style crunch that's going on. So for me, I can't see myself leaving anytime soon. Basically.
Sean?
Yeah, I would say I'm fairly happy at the moment. I've kind of got a situation where it's not the most creatively fulfilling, but it's also not insanely crunch and time demanding either. So that's good, but I do see, if I had to say 5 years from now, I probably will not be in the game industry anymore. So I don't know what I will be doing instead, but I just, it's like one of those things when you think about it, it's like you just can't see it lasting forever just because of how, like all the people that I work with now, like when I was at Silicon Knights, I was like one of the younger people there, and now I'm easily one of the oldest people at my current job, and it just feels like, okay, I'll be out here soon. So, yeah. Okay, Stephen Carpenter says, greetings, gentlemen. I'm a big fan of the show, and I have a few questions to ask. First of all, with the massive success of GTA 5 making over $1 billion in just 3 days, how do you think this will affect the gaming industry besides making tons of money for Rockstar North? Do you guys think that game developers will continue to make more AAA titles that cost millions, which could be very risky if they don't sell well? How do you feel about the game industry having just a few franchises that make a ton of money while other games don't make nearly as much? Does the inequality in sales hurt the gaming industry overall? Also, I was curious if you plan on picking up Pokemon X or Y. Why do you think this series has continued to be successful when the core gameplay is essentially the same as it always has been? Thanks for the awesome podcast. Keep up the good work. Steven.
Yeah, I agree that it seems like the industry is boiling down to a few AAA titles and a digital mobile landscape. Those are the two ends of the scale, and I don't love it. But kind of the model will work itself out.
I don't think that GTA selling that much is a direct contributing factor, but I do think that as AAA development goes on and you run into this case where you have companies like Rockstar with the technology behind GTA making these incredible games that are basically built off of 15 and 20 years of research and iteration, you will now no longer see anyone sort of just break in with a title similar to GTA. I think probably Saints Row and maybe Sleeping Dogs are the last, well, maybe not the last, but they're kind of the most recent that have kind of broken in. And even Saints Row 1, when it first came out, was pretty rough around the edges compared to the GTA at the time. So I think that gap will just continue to widen as far as how far ahead and advanced the games like Assassin's Creed and GTA are compared to anyone else that tries to jump in. So I think what Frank was saying, how it's becoming kind of two ends of the spectrum. I think, yeah, that middle ground or even like the high to mid-high range will be basically vacant.
I would say add the middle ground might be free-to-play games. That based on...
Well, I guess you need to define what the middle ground is. Yeah,
based on a free, almost doing a small version of a game.
Then working
free to play, and if it's popular, building it up financially through there.
So, Ouya.
Ouya.
But at the same time, you still need years of tech behind that. As far as the scale, yeah, you'd be able to grow it as you get money, but I don't think anything would ever be able to catch GTA or even...
oh yeah,
get that close to it now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with how things are going. Like I tend to gravitate more towards the indie stuff anyway, and I don't think that stuff's going away. But it is a little bit worrying that kind of what you were saying, Andrew, that like the high end stuff that's going to be harder and harder to penetrate to get. Like if you aren't already established, if you're not building off of a franchise that's a known entity and you have all the technology and all that stuff in place, there's no way you will ever get there.
Yeah. No, you can't. Even with Unreal or Crytek, you won't have the artists that you need to do something like that, or the even amount of designers. Even if you don't need programmers, there's just so much content you need to create. And technology too. And
I would add two things. One, the companies that make these games are so big,
yeah,
that they have unlimited resources. They can move from project to project.
Yeah, you'll never
to make
see
sure it gets done.
Massive publisher make one of these games,
and they'll never release it if it's bad.
Yeah. That's not
the
a
biggest
risk.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll just spend more money to make sure it's good, and it's not like movies where they say this is your budget, go for it. Sometimes they'll put a bit more money in. They will never allow a GTA game or a Call of Duty game to be fundamentally awful.
Especially if it's an established franchise.
Right, because as soon as you do that, look at the loss of future funds and how that hurts that reputation.
Yeah, and AAA games will always be around. Like, as long as there are publishers with massive amounts of money, they'll always take risks as far as funding these titles, even if it's a new IP, like what we're seeing Watch Dogs come out from Ubisoft. So they're obviously not just pulling the chute and only doing Assassin's Creed games from now on. They're still trying new, bigger titles. But you'd never see, I can't even think of a small company, but some small company take on something like Watch Dogs. It just would never happen.
I think you'll just see more titles like that either get canceled earlier or take forever to get released until they make sure that they're good.
Yeah, it's almost, when I think about it, it's like the existing huge franchises that are out there now, you will never have another original IP that comes up and gets to that level again. Like, I don't know, maybe something like Titanfall or something.
I don't know. I
think hit that. But
I think they will. I think every publisher is always going to be looking for their next, like, WoW or their next Call of Duty.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Next
Like,
GTA.
I should rephrase that. Yeah, like Ubisoft doing Watch Dogs, that would be an example. But, like, you would never have an unknown studio or like a new team of just a few people with a good idea launch new IP that
at least not in the next like 10 years. You need someone like, let's say Sega comes out of nowhere and creates some sort of popular like free to play game.
Binary Domain.
Sure, yeah, let's say Binary Domain took off and was amazing. Then they might make enough money from Binary Domain to be able to then kind of break into that. But it'll take so long to catch up to like the Ubisofts and the Rockstars that we won't see it anytime soon. Probably not in this cycle.
Interesting. Steven's email is kind of laying out the landscape of gaming as a binary domain. You're a have or a have not.
That is true.
It all comes back to Binary Domain.
And it is obviously very similar to where the movie industry is now, too. So it's not that surprising, I guess. But is there another question in there?
Something about a few
Pokemon,
big selling games hurt the industry.
Oh,
I don't think so. I think the majority of people probably will only buy. I think the reason why like GTA sells so much is because there's people out there that only buy GTA and Madden.
yeah.
So they're probably not going to buy the other AAA games anyway, so it's not really hurting them. If anything, having those monster games that get tons and tons of publicity will draw them in to try other things, maybe. So if anything, it might help the industry by luring them in to try a few other things similar to that. And yeah, the people who are going to buy like crazy indie games like Sean are not going to go and just like randomly, not buy something or buy, I think it's two different markets.
Yeah, I was
like
talking to a casual
gamers and casual.
A casual gamer on the weekend for next gen systems, and he said, "Which one should I buy? I'm only going to buy FIFA, Battlefield, and Call of Duty."
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
what your friends buy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Well, you should have told him PS4 because Uncharted's going to come on there.
They're very specific about what they're going to buy.
Okay, our good friend Austin in Japan says, "Hey, James Gunk, wondering if there's an older game from the past that you still play regularly or semi-regularly. My mate Zoe and I still have a weekly game of Aussie Rules Football 2004 on the PS2. We've played it so much over 9 years that we've gotten pretty good. Shame then that we are probably the only two people left in the world who still play it. Any games like that still get a spin at your house? Thanks, Austin."
Wayne Gretzky 3D Country.
Yeah.
And for me, the game that I constantly revisit through HD iterations, Vita versions, Jack and Daxter.
Yeah,
I love it. And Super Mario World.
Yeah.
For
classic
every
Super
virtual,
Nintendo game.
every virtual console release. And is there one other one?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would go to maybe is like NHL 94.
Yeah.
But even that, I haven't really dug out my Super Nintendo in a long time. So
I find for me, I go back quite often to like Super Nintendo RPGs and also like the classic Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, Super Metroid too.
Yeah. And then for me also College Hoops 2K9. Classic, pop that in every year, kind of like the Aussie Rules Football. And then for me, I'm finding... Now, this isn't really as much of a trend, but I've gone back a few times and played through the Uncharted games already. So that could be sort of like my newest old game.
right, it'll be retro soon.
Soon enough.
All right, last email here. This is kind of a longer one, so I'm going to try to pick out the key points, but it comes from Gilbert, who says, "Hello, Game Junk. My name's Gilbert. It's been a while since I've last written in. I am still subscribed and continue to shovel in your episodes into my ear holes. In my first email, my last words were, 'You guys have inspired me to pick up the controller again,' and I want to follow up with that and present a few questions. First, wide-angled field of view. I wanted to ask your thoughts on first-person perspective games that specifically use a wide-angled field of view. I've only noticed it with Valve games like Portal and Counter-Strike, and it drives me bonkers. So how is this aesthetic choice arrived at, and how would you consider this when planning a game? Second, pre-rendered backgrounds.
Do them one at a time.
Okay.
Before you read all the rest.
I've honestly not noticed it that much. It just... It doesn't get on my nerves. It just feels like part of an art style of each game in particular.
For me, I actually love wide-angle field of view. Personally, I feel that games like Bethesda, they have a narrow, probably 45-degree field of view vision, and I feel like the blinders are on. I can't wait for next-gen systems to open it up. You know, go to a 60 or I don't know at what angle it becomes to look kind of fish-eyed or not. But I know one of the reasons why you have that lower field of view is just because the engines can't render that much without it chugging, so they lower the field of view so you don't have to draw as much. So I'm sure that on Bethesda games, they're doing it because of that. I'm sure in Skyrim, where you have all those wide open spaces, you'd want the widest angle possible so you can get the feel of the world. So I don't know what he has against them. I actually like them a lot. I feel like the more you can see, the more you can experience the world kind of in one go without having to like pan across everything, and guys won't sneak up on you. You kind of have like a little bit of peripheral vision. Yeah.
I would say, I mean, I can't say for sure, but like if Portal is one of the ones that he's pointing out as having this, maybe it has to do with the fact that Portal's not really a true shooter where precision and aiming is that important, and that it's more puzzles and being able to see more of the environment as opposed to, you know, just focusing in on that enemy that's right in front of you.
Yeah,
like that.
And the only reason maybe those games look bland that he mentioned, I know Counter-Strike's pretty old, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could just be an old game you're looking at.
That's true.
And Portal is a pretty bland environment, I think, on purpose. So,
yeah,
it's possible that you just found two cases that don't really fit your likes.
Okay, pre-rendered backgrounds. Are games with pre-rendered backgrounds dead? If not, can you recommend any for the PS3?
They're dead.
I miss them, though. I love Onimusha. I would kill for an Onimusha HD remake.
Oh, yeah, that game's pretty sweet. I think the real downfall of pre-rendered backgrounds is you can't really... Well, there's two things. One, you can tell what it is, so you know exactly what is interactable in a world. So it kind of takes you out of the immersion. And then the other is that you do know what, so you can't really explore in detail, like nooks and crannies. And
I would say you can't reuse art.
Yeah, you can't reuse art, which is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now you have to redraw every bookcase the exact same. Well, to an extent.
But the thing is, you have to draw every orientation of a bookcase.
Yeah,
right. Where
depending on the camera
3D
angle.
object, you can just rotate it and model it once, and you've got everything covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, in the past it would have been like a technical thing. They would have done it to, you know, conserve.
The quality would be way higher versus a blocky bookcase.
Right, and now you can do it in 3D, in full 3D. And
yeah.
So why bother? Follow-up and last question. I would never call myself an avid or casual gamer. I'm best described as an occasional gamer. I go months without touching a controller, and then every now and then I pick one up and just binge. I just love the sound of mashing buttons on game controllers. I could easily watch and listen as a friend plays a video game, focusing on the taps of the square, circle, triangle, and cross buttons, a fascination I've had with sound since I was a kid. So the final question is, can you recommend games with a bit of a faster pace for the PS3 or the DS? I'm looking for some platforming, action games, or some hack and slash fun. I've got the rest of the God of War games, Devil May Cry HD Collection, Dante's Inferno, etc. I've also got 3 Castlevania games for the DS and 1 for the PS3. I just miss the pace of a Crash Bandicoot or Super Metroid game that's going to keep me tapping away at the game controller, as opposed to an FPS that really only utilizes the thumbsticks and L&R buttons. I'll actually be ordering the Mega Man X collection and the Ratchet & Clank collection But I'd love to hear more recommendations from you guys. Thank you, Game Junk. The more you and your audience continues to talk about video games, the more we come to understand this medium, and the sooner it becomes more than just simply a commodity. Much appreciation, Gilbert from Prison City, California. So
Button mashers.
I can give one right at the top. Guacamelee.
Yeah, for sure.
It's Metroidvania button mashy, right up your alley.
With more combat, that is button mashing.
Yeah, that's right. I got a few others listed. I don't know if you guys had.
I would say old school Parappa the Rappa and those types of rhythm games are pretty good.
You can buy that on PSN.
Yeah.
what about Contra 4? Contra 4? Is that the one for DS?
I'm not sure.
He wants PS3, man.
I got a few.
No, he said DS or PS3.
Oh, did he? Sorry.
Yeah.
Hi.
I got a few PS3 ones. Bayonetta. That's pretty button mashy, yeah. I thought the Batman games, they're not super button mashy, but they're actiony brawlers. You have to move buttons around. Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I just thought of a
that's
great
good
one. X-Men Destiny.
Oh yeah, if you want a button mash.
Lots of button mashing.
That is true.
Lots of combat.
Scott Pilgrim.
Tight menus.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott Pilgrim's a great one.
Mega Man 9 and 10. Speaking of Mega Mans. And then fighting games, I guess. I don't know if he likes fighting games, but like Street Fighter 4. And I haven't played this one, but I'm pretty sure it's button mashy, is Dragon's Crown, which just came out not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I don't know if you like massive rendered breasts or not, but
Who doesn't?
if you do, pick up Dragon's Crown.
What about like Super Meat Boy? Would you consider that button mashy?
I think it's more movement
Yeah,
rather than
it can
button
get
mash.
intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it can get intense, but I don't know if it's button mashy.
All right. Well, I'm just going to mention it.
Okay.
Well, I guess. No, I was gonna say Rock Band Blitz, but it's more shoulder buttons.
Right. I think they did a Double Dragon remake for the DS, if I'm not mistaken, which got pretty good reviews. So, yeah, there's some suggestions for you. And thanks, everyone, for the emails. So that's pretty much bringing us to the end of the show. I will quickly run through some upcoming releases, which, so Beyond Two Souls just came out this week. This weekend, Pokemon X and Y, Nintendo 2DS. And then October 15th, Halo 4 Game of the Year Edition. October 25th, we've got Batman Arkham Origins, which I'm pretty psyched for.
Sonic Lost Worlds. You neglected.
I did neglect that. Lego Marvel Superheroes, also October 25th. And then October 29th, Assassin's Creed 4, Battlefield 4.
Did you just skip Mario 3D World?
I thought it was November 22nd.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Did you just say November, though?
No.
Okay, sorry. Fuck.
He meant October.
Oh, okay.
Call of Duty Ghosts, November 5th. Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus. Do you know what that is?
No.
November 12th. The PlayStation 4, November 15th. And a bunch of launch titles coming out that day, including Killzone Shadowfall, Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know. November 19th.
What is that?
I like the other Adventure Time game, so I may be curious about this one.
It's got an
Xbox One, November 22nd, along with Watch Dogs, and for the Vita, Tearaway, which I'm looking forward to. And
That's a big day, the 22nd.
Super Mario 3D World. Yeah, big day. And then
What is Nintendo thinking? Putting that up again.
that's all they got.
I'm not even gonna
Xbox.
lie. I'm gonna buy Xbox One that day. I may spend more time playing Mario 3D World.
When's Black
It
Friday?
it looks amazing. Probably that Friday.
Yeah, good question. I don't know.
Have you looked at some of the new footage for Mario?
Yeah.
It looks so fucking good.
It looks good. I will give you that. And then South Park, Stick of Truth, December 10th.
It's going to be
Sneaking
Game
in
of
just
the Year.
before Christmas.
Game of the Year.
So I don't know what the next episode will be. I'm hoping we'll be able to do something, with
Next
the new consoles and before the end of the year. Yeah, I don't know for sure.
Well, maybe we'll have to do. You guys come over to my house one day because you're not buying the new consoles.
Yeah.
Or are
we'll
we?
probably have to do that. Plus, you're buying all the games, so it'd be a perfect.
And we'll just have a little
scenario.
jam sesh, and then
we'll review Batman Arkham Origins. Sounds good. Yeah, so we'll see what we can do. But in the meantime, stay tuned to facebook.com/GameJunk, twitter.com/GameJunkPodcast, GameJunkPodcast.com, and follow us all on Twitter @DirtyFrank, @MyAngryCommute, and @FilmJunk. Anything else before we sign off? All right, until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.